Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Fantasy. Sign in for 1,000 years at the start. Chapter 41. The place where Tianhe sect chooses his disciples is a valley surrounded by mountains and misty celestial mist. In the valley, auspicious birds are auspicious and elk are looming. The ratio of the entry test of Tianhe Zong this time is divided into 3 items. 1 is the road to ascend to immortals. There will be various illusions on the road to ascend to immortals, allowing people to experience the world, life and death, hardships, and test people's desire for Taoism. The second item is the essay test answer sheet to test people's comprehension. The third item is to measure the physique talent, mainly the absorption and affinity for vitality. When the disciples meet the standards in these 3 assessments, they can be entered into the Tianhe Zongshan Gate as a new student. Among them, if the performance is good enough, there is a chance to be valued by Elder and directly accepted as a personal pass. At this time, after more than half a day, the entry test of Tianhe sect has been basically completed. The mountains are rugged, the ancient trees are lush, and the crowd is turbulent. Numerous new disciples who had started are exclaiming at a young girl. It turns out that her name is Zhou Ziyi, and she is so talented. A ride on the road to Diangshan, the first in the literary test, and the talent is even more outstanding. This time, she is the number 1 in the entry. I am afraid it is none other than her. Hey, this kind of person should have been rated by other sects a long time ago. How could we still be encountered by our group? We are too unlucky. At the beginning of the test, some people were surprised and some people lamented. Some people are simply attracted by the beautiful figure of a girl. Then they changed from shock to envy, until in the end, they began to feel ashamed. Compared with this talented girl, they are too far apart. Moreover, it was not only these disciples who noticed Zhou Ziyi's existence, but also Elder from the Tianhe sect had been eyeing her a long time ago. Before the announcement of the total score of this entry test, Elder came to the door. Ziyi, I'm Han Dang, Elder of the Tianhe sect. I am responsible for collecting sect's news on weekdays. I am the best at finding early opportunities. I think you have a good talent. How about worshipping me as a teacher, and what opportunities you have, I will keep you first to know. A middle-aged man walked up, his face looked upright, but what he said was very short-sighted. Zhou Ziyi opened her mouth, wanting to say that she had already belonged to her, but at this time someone came again. Han Dang, it's not good for you to be like this. Come in advance to accept disciples sneakily. No matter how you want to give the little girl a choice. The elder said. He seemed a little unhappy, but immediately afterwards he put a smile on Zhou Ziyi. Little girl Ziyi, don't listen to Han Dang's words. If you worship him as a teacher, you will definitely be busy all day long, and you may not even have time for cultivation. He is not like me. I study formation and spend my days free, and I also like your physical gifts very much. Little girl, how about worshipping me as a teacher? The newcomer elder said to Zhou Ziyi with a laugh. Ahem. The second elder, who was obstructed by face, looked at him for a long time. At this time, he finally couldn't help it, and set aside the task of presiding over the introductory test. Without pulling down his old face, all the apprentices he wanted were abducted. You two, who allowed you to sneak in like this? Second elder pretended to reprimand. The 2 elders did not dare to speak. This one was much stronger than them. For this kind of thing, the right to choose should be given to Zhou Ziyi. This is the best way. However, if someone wants to worship me as an apprentice this time, I will definitely accept it. I should have an apprentice in the cultivation base of Dongshuan first stage. After talking, Elder also glanced at Zhou Ziyi for fear that she would not understand. Han Dang was quite speechless. This one was still reprimanding them just now, dare to feel that this one is not less careful than them. After that, it seemed that because the second elder came over, a gate was completely opened. Elders took turns to take Zhou Ziyi as their disciples. These people speak a lot more bluntly. Zhou Ziyi, be my apprentice. I will give you all my salary for 1 year. Little girl, don't listen to others. Be my apprentice. Even if I have spent my enthusiasm, I will also train you into the cave profound realm. Zhou Ziyi was dizzy and silly. This is Tianhe sect, one of the super sects. There are several forces in the world. On weekdays, she couldn't even think about it, but when she came, there were so many elders around her and wanted to accept her as a disciple. She knows that own talent is not bad, but she thinks that own's main talent is in the refinery. Unexpectedly, cultivation seems to be a genius. So my talent is very high. Zhou Zi said to himself. Before she wanted to create a sword embryo of the quasi-sacred weapon class, she always went with the flow in cultivation. The own talent has not been carefully tested. This time it was only because I wanted to enter the door of senior, so I worked very hard. Unexpectedly, it would cause such a result. However, even these elders of the Tianhe sect are so anxious to accept disciples. As a rogue cultivators, Zhou Zi said that he has a long experience. Then she said, "Dear seniors, I am here this time specifically to worship the Lianbing mountain line, and will not make other considerations." These words stunned many elders. This little girl, why are people like herself rushing to accept disciples and don't agree, so she wants to go to some kind of military mountain? At this moment, someone showed a face of sudden realization, pointing to Zhou Zi and said, "I know who you are. You are the Zhou Zi who won the first place in the refining competition, right?" Everyone was in an uproar, their eyes turned to her, with a strong shock. Zhou Zi nodded and said, "Yes, it's me, what's the matter?" The elders understood all of a sudden. That was the case, no wonder this little girl had to enter the refining hill. Originally, I was specialized in this business. However, little girl, do you really only want to enter the refining mountain? There are no people in the refining mountain now. Although the inherited classics are still there, you can only rely on you to explore. Such efficiency is destined to be slow, don't you consider other things? Zhou Zi was taken aback when he heard the words, and there was no one in Refining Hill. What was the senior who helped her? They don't know the existence of senior. She glanced at the expressions of everyone, as if it were really the case. However, this makes her a little strange. In this, is there any secret that cannot be revealed? Suddenly, she thought about the novels she often read, and she guessed. Is it because senior is planning what? It should be. That being the case, I can't disrupt senior's arrangements. If this is due to a negligence of own, which caused the senior to fall short, then it is a sin. Wrong. Zhou Zi suddenly thought that with senior's realm, he would have expected that he would be able to detect this key point, so he was relieved that he would come here like this. She suddenly realized, why don't you choose another elder to be the master? Someone among the elders said, couldn't let go of this brilliant and beautiful jade. Thank you, elder, I have decided and won't change it anymore, Zhou Zi said. All right, second elder sighed. They really couldn't provide any help with the refining device. Otherwise, they would definitely leave Zhou Zi behind. Afterwards, Zhou Zi officially became a member of Lianbingshan. Just after finishing the apprenticeship ratio, she couldn't wait to fly to the training mountain. She can finally become senior's apprentice. Refining Soldier Mountain, Song Wudao was busy at this time. After thinking about it, he will definitely focus on cultivation in the days to come, and it is impossible to always take care of Zhou Zi. If he often delays Zhou Zi's practice because of other things, he is too unqualified as a master. To keep Zhou Zi staying with him in this way would be a waste of Zhou Zi's talent. What should I leave for her to help her practice? Song Wudao thought, but he didn't think about it. Afterwards, he began to organize the immortal cave in the refining mountain. After all, Zhou Zi will become an apprentice of own and will live here for a long time, so he needs a better environment. Storage room, library room, quiet room for cultivation, etc. Song Wudao equipped Zhou Zi with various facilities. He almost did everything he could think of. In addition, he updated the formation of this immortal cave. Over the years, although he has not specifically studied the formation, it may be because of realm strength that his insight speed is much higher than that of ordinary cultivators. In addition, a lot of books about formation have been obtained through the system, so he can still build a fairly powerful formation. In fact, this formation is mainly responsible for Zhou Zi's safety. Although there is no danger in the Tianhe sect, it is not that he has almost been beaten in. The last time it was mainly relied on him to solve the siege. In case something happens again, he is not there, the consequences would be disastrous. Formation is still necessary. Not enough, Song Wudao said. Formation is enough to protect Zhou Zi against a player who is weaker than him by 2 or 3 chips, but it won't work if he is stronger. Thinking, Song Wudao came to the casting room and saw a pile of leftovers left over from his forging all the year round. Yes, he said happily. Then he waved his hand, and these small hill-like leftovers were like being wrapped by an invisible huge force. After a dazzling process, they turned into a black monument with several people high. The surface of the steel shows a subtle frosted texture, and the light hitting it only produces a slight reflection, and the steel looks only 2 characters. Advanced. Song Wudao looked at this huge monument like a handicraft and was very satisfied. Although he used the leftover scraps of the old casters, they are actually good things. There are a lot of them inside. As long as they are placed outside, even a small piece can make the cultivator snatch wildly. And the quality of the stone steel formed by these things is high enough. However, for the reason of not wasting materials, Song Wudao only extracted the essence of these materials, and did not refine this stone tablet. Even so, the fluctuating aura emitted by the steel was comparable to the quasi-sacred artifact. It's still the last process. Song Wudao held a long knife in his hand, and a big character gradually appeared as the white blade was flying around. At the same time, the breath of the steel became more and more mysterious, full of meaning, as if it contained infinite possibilities. Road. The stone steel contains Song Wudao's understanding of Tao since he cultivated Tao. Everyone who sees this stone tablet practicing sword will be infected by the Tao contained in it, and appreciate the meaning of this Tao. And if you don't practice the knife, the content of the steel will be of great reference. In addition, the Taoism in it can also fortify each other with the visitors, and promote the growth of this steel and cultivator. Thousands of people sacrificed one thing. This is the trace left by Song Wudao to this world, and it is also one of the gifts. The grandeur of a peerless powerhouse has slowly revealed in Song Wudao's body. And at some point, this is invincible. Senior. I passed the entry test of Tianhe sect this time. The clear and sweet voice echoed in Lianbing Mountain, and the joy of the voice owner could be felt far away. Soon, Zhou Ziyi flew in front of Song Wudao. At this time Song Wudao was sitting in a seat waiting for Zhou Ziyi's return. For this result, he had expected it a long time ago. What are you calling me? Song Wudao said with a smile, his eyes closed, very peaceful and beautiful. Zhou Ziyi quickly reacted. Master. Song Wudao replied, well, I had anticipated this a long time ago. Nothing strange. Come with me. Zhou Ziyi obediently agreed, the joy on his face remained unchanged, and followed Song Wudao. This is the library, this is the quiet room, this is the storage. Seeing that the rank is unknown, but the same extraordinary items can be easily sensed, Zhou Ziyi's eyes light up. Then, leading Zhou Ziyi through these places one by one, Song Wudao finally stopped. In the future, you can do whatever you want in these places, as long as you don't demolish this place. In fact, it's okay even if it is dismantled. It is inevitable that there will be accidents in the cultivation casting, so after this you have to tell me that I will rebuild. Zhou Ziyi was amused. Okay, master. Song Wudao nodded. Since you are already familiar with this, I have nothing to explain. As for the others, your cultivation technique is too bad and needs to be changed. It's just a change, I still need to think about it. In the past few days, you will get familiar with this place. Song Wudao instructed. In fact, this was because he had forgotten this matter, and cultivation technique couldn't choose casually. So I found an excuse and waited a few days. Okay, master. Zhou Ziyi replied, not caring at all, still very happy. This girl, Song Wudao, is funny in his heart. Perhaps because of fulfilling his wish and learning about his mother, Zhou Ziyi's pressure on his body has disappeared. After the sadness passed, Zhou Ziyi no longer looked like when he first met, with more lively breath that a girl should have. A few days later, Song Wudao appeared in front of Zhou Ziyi again, and then passed her a cultivation technique and some attacks and casting techniques. The cultivation technique is called Wanwuju, and Song Wudao is not very clear on the rank, but according to his feelings, it is not much worse than his galaxy cluster knife. In addition, this cultivation technique fits Zhou Ziyi's physique very well, and she practiced it twice with half the effort. The techniques of attacking and casting are also not simple, and they are not included in the classification of the magic arts of this world. Later, after teaching these methods to Zhou Ziyi, After seeing her simple introduction to cultivation, Song Wudao became busy again. But in the mountains, I don't know the years, and it is 500 years later in a blink of an eye. During these 500 years, Song Wudao focused his energy on going to various places in the world to sign in and strive to obtain good materials. He wanted to forge a weapon beyond the sacred weapon. Since this idea appeared in his heart, he hasn't let go of it. On the contrary, it is cultivation, which is rarely taken into consideration, but even so, the number of swords in his body has increased 8 times. And when the 9th round appeared, it was when he was promoted. Doing the math, Realm has been silent for nearly 200 years since arriving at the 9th stage of Tianghuan. However, this quiet until this day finally ushered in a natural change. A newly built casting site somewhere in Lianbing Mountain. As if the mountain was hollowed out, the space here is huge. In half of the space, 9 lavas converge from the mountain wall, winding along the corridor. Then after heavy tempering, it becomes the purest flame essence and enters the central casting furnace. And the other half is a cold pool with clear water, containing the air of coldness. This forging site was built after the original casting chamber could not meet Song Wudao's needs. Can provide great convenience for casters. Clang, clang, there was a knocking sound in the casting place, and Song Wudao put down his hammer. Seeing the finished, cold shimmering knife tool in front of him, he wiped the slight sweat stains on his forehead, and he showed a satisfied face. It's already the 9th one. Next, as long as these 9 knives are used to conceive and cast a furnace, a long knife that transcends the sacred artifact will be born. Song Wudao turned around, shaking his arm, and the knife fell into the cold pool and sank to the bottom. He looked at the water, as if he could see the bottom of the lake through the water. There are 9 long knives at the bottom of the lake like a forest, sticking vertically. The rhyme of these long swords circulates continuously, and under the shadow of the power of the soul, it looks like 9 little suns. Powerful and unmatched. I don't know what kind of knife will be born in the end. As Song Wudao said, there was a rare expectation in his heart. This mood was like an opportunity that made his realm cultivation base, which had been temporarily completed, become active again, and his body was almost impeccably broken. A fresh breath was born, and it went up wildly. On top of the sword seed that is close to perfection, there is a layer of shining divine power, like waves of water, horrible vitality vortexes are successively born within the space. Boom! A storage ring shattered at the sound, and a large amount of vitality divine liquid emerged from it, supplying Song Wudao's consumption. There was wind, and the vortex of vitality disturbed a huge amount of wind. Song Wudao closed his eyes, his expression stretched, and the corners of his clothes fluttered, like a god-man. After a long while, he let out a contented sigh. True monarch realm. After the sky pass, it is the true monarch realm, and after the true monarch, it is Diva. This knowledge was learned from the ancient secret book obtained by Song Wudao during his travels over the years. Feeling the mysterious and unpredictable brilliance of the sword in his body, Song Wudao understood the big gap between true monarch and Tianghuan. It is a leap from a child to an adult, and the two are simply incomparable. Moreover, he does not seem to be an ordinary true monarch. The moment he enters the true monarch state, he clearly sees his way forward. Intuitively, it won't take long for him to be promoted to Diva. This is very different from what is recorded in the ancient secret book. It is recorded in the secret book that it is very difficult to advance in true monarch realm. This is a good thing. Maybe it was because of the special way he condensed to the sword type. Song Wudao guessed. His knives are spontaneously condensed by galaxy cluster knives, not granted by this world, and the quality seems to be higher. At this time, the empty mountain room suddenly felt like Song Wudao with his eyes closed. Tianhe sect is deep underground. A large 9 secluded portal, composed of black flares. It was dark and deep inside, and occasionally a breath leaked, revealing a terrifying essence. Not far from the portal, the 4 rhymes are condensed, and the breath is like a figure sitting close to the sky. At this moment a figure came over, saluted respectfully and said, "True monarch, Xie Taoshuyuan is exhausted and has fallen." The visitor is the Ji Yu high ancestor who once appeared in the Tianhe sect, and Xie Dao in his mouth is the criminal law elder of the Tianhe sect's generation, and Ji Yu Kaishuan's master. The 4 figures seemed to sway slightly when they heard the news. One of them said, It's a pity that Xie Dao has worked so hard for the Tianhe sect for so many years, and it is time to step down, but in the end he left first. It's a burial. He's doing his best for sect. He's very good. Yes, Ji Yu Hai replied respectfully, and then he reported another matter. True monarch, after hundreds of years of cultivation, Ji Yu Kaishuan has reached the realm of Dongshuan. Because Xie Dao used a forbidden technique for him before his fall, now she is very close to the 9th stage of Dongshuan, and she will step into it soon. Yeah, the first true monarch replied. This girl is too hot and talented. Coupled with the help of her master before his death, I hope she can step into the barrier. This can be regarded as an explanation to Xie Dao. Well, you can withdraw. Yes, Ji Yu Hai replied. Then he left habitually. Since the last time sect was almost broken by other forces, he would report like the true monarchs every once in a while, which was arranged by the true monarchs. When Ji Yu Hai left, a sigh sounded in front of the Juyu gateway. Ah, the speaker is the Taishi true monarch, one of the 4 true monarchs. There are 5 Tianhe sect true monarchs, named after the Shantian 5 Tais, namely Tai, Taishi, Taichu, Taiji, and Teizu. Taishi continued. In the past 5 to 600 years, the Mingtu behind the 9 nether portal has become more restless. I am afraid that within 100 years, Mingtu will have another riot. At that time, I don't know how many people will die in this riot. Taishi's mood was very low, and he was not optimistic about the prospects of himself and others. Although they have entered the realm of true monarch, they are no more than the realm of the 2/3 stage. True monarch is too difficult. Even if it has been a long time since they entered, cultivation base has not grown much. At this time they regretted it a little. If they stayed for a longer time in the low realm, they would have a firmer foundation, and realm ascension would be easier at this time. Taoshi, don't have to be so pessimistic. After being too vulnerable last time, I got a further opportunity. I hope that with this opportunity, it is too easy to be able to reach the true monarch 9th stage soon. This way, even if there is a riot in the underworld, it can be temporarily suppressed. Tai Su true monarch said. How easy is it, even if it's too easy and talented to surpass me, but true monarch 9th stage is not so difficult. He was injured, and the chance of breaking through 2 realms is slim. Moreover, even if you can really enter the true monarch or 9th stage, it is difficult to say whether you can really resist this riot. Tai Shi said. Yes. Tai Chi true monarch next to him agreed, and then he was very emotional. Unfortunately, if the sword saint hadn't been attacked by the evil spirits and had been injured and sat down, then maybe he had already broken through to the top of the true monarch. Even the seal of heaven and earth from true monarch to diva might be able to break through. In the words, this true monarch admires the sword saint very much. In fact, people think that the sword saint is only the realm of heaven, but they don't know that he has already broken through to true monarch. It's just that because the method was too strong at the beginning, the evil spirits were encircled and killed, and the body fell. In addition, Tai Chi true monarch's words also revealed another important message. From true monarch breakthrough to diva, it is to break the seal of heaven and earth. In fact, as long as someone rushes to the true monarch 9th stage, they will be faintly affected by the power of this seal. In the place of casting, Song Wudao felt a sense of hunger again, and then he was very speechless. In the past few days, all the materials have been spent to refine the 9 long knives. At this time, where can I find something to absorb the essence of his eyes? After thinking, Song Wudao turned his body to the depths of Tianhe sect, seeming to be thinking about something. In fact, Song Wudao has been to many places to sign in for 500 years, and he has also obtained many precious treasures. Among them, many divine objects that he didn't use were absorbed by his eyes. But as time has grown, the eyes have disappeared a lot in the past century, and gradually there are signs of cohesion. But I didn't expect that this feeling of hunger would reappear after realm broke through again. At the moment, everything left over from the sign-in is used for casting. It seems that it can only be an idea. Song Wudao calculated. Over the years, he has also explored the 9 nether portal many times, and secretly helped deal with the remnants of demons that occasionally escaped from the portal. So the situation can be regarded as understanding. Now, the sense of threat from the breath of the door was very weak. Even if you go in, you probably won't encounter any problems. In addition, his eyes can also grow by absorbing the essence of evil spirits, so why not do it? And he had a hunch that after this incident, he would be very close to the time when the two Dao pupils were born. Just do it. Song Wudao disappeared, and he came to the road leading to the Nine Nether portal. Suddenly, a shocking force came from afar, and the feeling of hunger in Song Wudao's eyes became more intense. This is the Lock Demon Array. As the name implies, the Locking Demon formation is a formation of trapping monsters. Monsters are different things from demons that harm the world. Although both are full of killing in nature, their starting points are not the same. Demons belong to this nature, while monsters are the instinctive habits of animals. Therefore, compared with demons, monsters generally have stronger spiritual wisdom. The monsters trapped in this formation of the Tianhe sect are all very powerful, and their intelligence is naturally very strong. I forgot about it, Song Wudao said. After so many years, he discovered that not only demons can arouse the desire of his eyes, but also monsters. Moreover, the two functions are similar, and they promote the evolution of the eyes from different aspects with heavenly and mortal treasures. Song Wudao came to the Lock Demon Array. Since the nearby can meet his needs, he doesn't have to go far. Before a sacred mountain, Song Wudao crossed the mountain wall and walked in easily. This sacred mountain is a mimicry scene of the Great Formation, not real. After entering, Song Wudao shuttled freely like an invisible shadow. On the other side, Tianhe sect's Tianguan realm powerhouse Lu Shan couldn't help frowning. Within just half an hour, the Lock Demon Array once experienced a shock. At that time, the celestial pass on the other side began to enter the depths of the Great Formation to investigate the situation. This kind of vibration is abnormal and rarely occurs on weekdays. However, it has been common in the past 100 years, and it has been especially frequent recently. And now, this is the second shock that has occurred. What happened? It oscillates twice a day. This is the first time in history. Could it be related to the fact that Hades has become more active recently? He guessed. The power of the soul stretched like a large array, but he found nothing. It seems that the specific situation can only be known after Han Dong comes back. In fact, there are some things that he has felt in recent years. That is this Lock Demon Array, which is more and more out of their control. Lu Shan turned his gaze to the communication jade card in his hand. Suddenly, the jade card bloomed with blood-red light. What? Lu Shan's expression was solemn, with a trace of sorrow. Han Dong actually died. He immediately passed the information out. This matter was no longer what he could handle, and true monarch had to be invited. Then his eyes turned to the depths of the formation, with sadness and incomprehension in his eyes. What exactly was released that caused this to happen in the Lock Demon Great Array? This Lock Demon Array is completely out of control. There was blood everywhere, and the wreckage was everywhere. Song Wudao flew by quietly. Inside the big formation, it was particularly desolate. In addition to more killings, it was also unusually large. It was unexpectedly big, and even his current cultivation base could not be finished in a moment. However, he was not here for sightseeing either. On the way, many monsters were killed by him, and then the essence was absorbed by his eyes. Now his eyes are slightly warm, and he feels very good. And the number of monsters here also surprised Song Wudao. You can encounter many monsters at almost every step, although the current realm is not high. Of course, this step is based on his current realm as the standard, which is very far away. But even so, this scene is still very strange in Song Wudao's mind. There are so many monsters in the Lock Demon Array, won't sect clean them regularly? Why have existed for thousands of years? There are still so many powerful monsters in this big formation. Even if they are newly captured, they should be cleaned up. Song Wudao didn't understand, so he walked along with doubts. Who are you? In front of him, a great demon of heavenly pass appeared and asked, and immediately showed a sinister smile. Boy, it's rare for humans to come over, so please play with me today. With that said, this great demon shot and arrested Song Wudao. For a while, monster chi is surging, and a strong smell of blood permeates. Song Wudao pointed out at random with a single finger, only exerting a small amount of force. This monster perceives the blood hole in his head in astonishment. At this moment, all the power of this monster was defeated by Song Wudao's finger. If there is no external force to intervene, the monster will undoubtedly die. Song Wudao's eyes burst into suction, ready to obtain the essence of this monster. However, to his surprise, he actually jumped into the air. Song Wudao perceives that this lock demon array actually gave birth to a formation force, actively helping the demon heal. Ha! As soon as the injury recovered, the monster in front of him immediately turned around and fled to the side. At this moment, the monster got a short gap. It looked at Song Wudao in horror, and its expression was full of shock. It never thought that the blind man in front of him was so powerful. According to its experience, it may not be possible to escape, so it shouted loudly. I don't know what this fellow Taoist is doing here. I am very familiar with the neighborhood. Don't kill me, fellow Taoist, I'm useful. Song Wudao was greatly surprised. One was the intelligence of this monster, and the other was the behavior of this formation. He turned his head and faced the deepest point, becoming more and more curious about the situation inside. As for the monsters around, Song Wudao's palm stood up and turned into a hand knife, his forearm swung out, and a bright knife light flashed. Let's kill it first, a formation can't stop him. No, I'm Luong's subordinate, you can't kill me. Otherwise you will be miserable. Poor monster, it was still screaming before dying, but it was just a pointless resistance. Then Song Wudao stayed for a while, obtained the essence of this monster, and walked into the depths. There are more monsters waiting for him. Inside the lock demon array, the dark brown land was full, and the black clouds in the sky continued to condense. Ding! Congratulations to the host for signing in successfully and getting the 9 Heavens Thunder technique. The voice of the system sign-in appeared, but Song Wudao was slightly surprised. According to the system, this 9 Heavens Thunderfall judgment is a killing method of unknown origin. There are mainly Imperial God Thunder, which compares the power of heaven and earth with the human body. The power is beyond ordinary people's imagination. In addition, this method can also absorb the thunder of heaven and earth in the body, or lead the thunder down to display the might of heaven. Perceiving the content of this magic formula, Song Wudao couldn't know the specific rank of the magic formula, but he relied on his knowledgeable vision. It is easy to understand that the quality of this technique has surpassed the level of cultivation technique in this world. Good stuff, Song Wudao said as he walked forward. Next, all the way to kill, all the monsters reflected by the power of his soul are buried under his hands. But it's a pity that so far I haven't encountered a monster that is strong enough to withstand his hand knife. In other words, these monsters didn't even test the power of 9 Heavens Thunder. It seems that the strength is too strong, and it is inevitable that there will be a sense of loneliness. However, along the way, Song Wudao noticed another fact. That is, the lock demon array does protect these monsters to some extent. But the intensity is not high. Is there something wrong with this lock demon array? This behavior is too strange. Putting aside the doubt, Song Wudao moved on. Thousands of miles are gone in a blink of an eye. He moved forward at an extremely fast speed, and whenever he arrived, he set off a bloody storm and a fatal killing for the monsters here. Slowly, even if Song Wudao didn't have deep knowledge in formation, he began to notice the tricky. This formation is absorbing the power of the monster. When Song Wudao killed a monster, he found that formation would swallow the monster whose eyes had absorbed the essence and the remaining power in his body. With this power of devouring, he also found the same thing in some monsters he occasionally encountered. These monsters all bear the punishment of the power of formation, and the power of swallowing is hidden in this punishment. As a result, Song Wudao actually gave birth to a sense of vain. They have already walked most of the distance in this vast lock demon formation, but his eyes have no sense of satisfaction. I am afraid that he will not absorb all the monsters here, and the bred Dao pupils will not be satisfied anymore. Kill all the monsters and labors here, and hope that the Tianhe sect powerhouses guarding here will not blame him if they find out. In fact, Song Wudao didn't know that the people here were undergoing a huge change. If the caretaker here knew these things, I am afraid that not only will he not blame him, but it is too late to thank him. The hand knife was lightly cut out, sharp and unmatched, and the sharp light appeared. Chi. The sound of the knife light cutting the flesh and blood sounded, and a large number of monsters died, including the monsters of Dongshuan 9th stage. The protective power of formation didn't work at all, as if it didn't exist. Unexpectedly, no power appeared in his eyes to absorb the essence of these monsters. Is this disgusting? Song Wudao shook his head. His eyes were like a small ancestor, and now even the monsters at the peak of Dongxuan began to dislike it, recalling the heavenly and mortal treasures and demons and monsters that were spent in the past to nurture these two Dao pupils. Even he who owns the system, the big killer, feels a little bit cold when he sees it. If these eyes were born on someone else, or anyone in this world, he wouldn't be able to support it. That is, he, who owns the system, can succeed. Of course, this is also related to his perfect gestation of eyes. It is impossible for other people to spend such a lot of energy. Along the way, the road behind Fan Song Wudao was full of blood and blood flowing into a river. Now the murderous aura on his body can almost make the monster at the peak of Dongxuan panic and frightened when he sees it. Completely lose the confidence to resist. Covered by the power of the soul, he was able to see the scene at the end of the big array gradually. In front of him, the lowest remaining monster was Realm of Tianguan first stage. And there are close to 30 such monsters. They all look weak. Being able to ban so many monsters in it, Tianhe's background is quite terrifying. And let alone, the monster in the deepest place, even Song Wudao felt threatened. It seems that I have found something to test the knife, Song Wudao said, looking forward to it. On the other side, deep in the formation, a monster that looked like a bull and a tiger, with a huge body, was frightened, shouting at the figure beside it, Xiaoduo. Boss, Benyu is dead, Shengma is also dead. They are all dead, 20 people died in the blink of an eye. What the hell is going on? It's terrible. Could it be that Tianhe sect has finally taken action against us after so many years? It looked like a dragon, but there was a row of bone spurs on its back. From head to tail, the scaly monster showed disdain. A pair of eyes glowed with turbid and dim light, which was a little bit evil. Look at what great things you can do with your virtue. Don't worry, don't you feel that the lock demon array is getting weaker and weaker against us? Hehe. As long as the suppressing power of this formation is completely lost, the juniors of the Tianhe sect are now. Keep them back and forth. Hearing this, the frightened monster next to him seemed to have found the backbone and became bold. Yes, the boss is right. I have been worn out by this lock demon array, and I don't have the enthusiasm before. The monster said. Indeed, beside him, there is this monster with celestial bloodline as the boss. Who is he afraid of? These guards of the big formation, no matter who they are only responsible for death. Well, today is already the weakest moment for the lock demon formation. You are ready, see the right time in a while, and break this formation with me. Did you hear me? After I get out of trouble, I will report the revenge of imprisonment and torture. All those who slaughtered the Tianhe sect up and down. The monster who was just fearful was overjoyed, the boss was already prepared. It seems that I can finally be at ease. It thinks so, and it has to answer. But I didn't want to just speak. Before I could speak, I felt a sharp pain in my neck. Recalling just now, there seemed to be a light flashing inexplicably. What's wrong with me? Doubts rushed to my mind, but consciousness completely dissipated. It wasn't until the last moment that he saw that a cyan misty figure appeared. Tianguan 9th stage is still too weak. A pair of dimly shining, evil eyes looked over and looked at him. Song Wudao felt it, but didn't care. At this time, there was a force of power in the eyes, and no one else began to extract the essence of the monster that had just been killed. Lu Long saw this scene, and while secretly shocked, he was also very angry. Boy, report your name and inherit from it. Dare to kill my subordinates like this in front of me, and smash the bones to suck the marrow. You don't want to kill you, right? Lu Long said so, but in fact it was stern. There is no stance to do anything. The person in front of him can't see through or explain clearly. When he first shot, he only saw a trace. It's better not to act rashly. Song Wudao rushed in with an overwhelming momentum, a sea of dead mountains and blood, and Shira-like scenes seemed about to emerge, very permeating. In fact, this is Lu Long's temptation, and the young man's Daoyun aura is too flawless for it to figure out. The other party must be exposed to flaws in his breath for it to make judgments. What? Lu Long said in shock. When Song Wudao faced the oppression of this momentum, he didn't even react. This was obviously stronger than his own performance. Interesting, true monarch realm's cultivation base, and the breath on the body looks very extraordinary. Lu Long didn't expect that he was just a normal test, but he had carefully exposed his situation. Afterwards, Song Wudao, who sensed the aura of the monster, unexpectedly discovered the Daoyuan of the Tianhe school cultivation technique not far away. Following this rhyme, he clearly perceives the half-broken corpse not far from the monster in front of him. Tianhe sect. Song Wudao's killing intent suddenly emerged, and a huge sense of crisis fell on the surface of Lu Long's body. However, it is not timid. It is inherited from the heavens and has amazing supernatural powers. Even if the total vitality is stronger than it, it is not a lower realm cultivator. The Taoist method is so superficial, how can you fight him? Boom! The long and narrow claws of the gluttonous dragon protruded, and the terrifying aura spread over the world, like an ancient overlord, violent and violent. Boy, want to kill me, want you to die first. This might seem invincible, but it was quickly suppressed. Song Wudao swiped his arm at will, the white light of the knife illuminating the dim world. After a pop, demonic beasts dissipated, and it looked at the wound on its arm in disbelief. Bone can be seen deep there, blood is flowing wildly, and I don't know what means, it just can't heal. How could it be possible? What kind of attacking technique this person used, and why is it so terrible? In its shocked eyes, with eyes closed from beginning to end, as if the dismissive young man said at this moment. Yes, I can try the new method. He understood the meaning of the young man's mouth, and the gluttonous dragon was furious. Boy, you deceive people too much, so you can see what is the real god-tier skill. The scene of the overturning of the world emerged, but it disappeared in a moment. It was still talking, and it ran away in a hurry. This person is too perverted and needs to be considered for a long time. Song Wudao, who had already taken out the long knife, was taken aback, then laughed. Knowing that he is invincible, he flees. Yes, but, do you think you can run this way? Innocent. The sonorous sound sounded, and the world seemed to be stagnant at this moment, and there was something in the sky above the sky that responded to this sound. 9 heavens thunder. Drop. Song Wudao chanted softly. Outside the lock demon formation, because of the abnormal vibration of the formation, many Tianguan ancestors had gathered here long ago, and Lucian within the formation had also retreated. They looked anxious, a little dignified, and a little walked around, just like the anxiety in their hearts, without stopping for a moment. What's the situation with this lock demon array? They are anxious like ants on a hot pot. Just a moment ago, the great array oscillated again. This oscillating force covered a wide area, and the entire Tianhe sect was affected. Is this big formation about to collapse? It shouldn't be that way. Some people think, oh, it's all about the monsters inside. The true monarchs should have cleaned it up a long time ago, said a Tianguan ancestor. No, you have to understand that the monsters in this formation are used to supplement the consumption of guarding the 9 nether portal. That is the most terrible event. At this moment, because everyone was impatient and powerless, someone was about to quarrel at this moment. It's just that all of a sudden, everyone was silent, as if sensing something, one after another raised their heads to look up into the sky. After that, they saw an unforgettable scene in their lives. I saw a huge thunder sound above the sky. The blue falling thunder like a boundless waterfall covered the sky, and at this time the white clouds began to fall apart. The gale blew up suddenly. The majestic torrent engulfed the might of the world, fell from the vast sky, and encompassed the entire universe. Boom! The thunderstorm rushed into the lock demon array, everyone was stunned and dumbfounded. What happened just now? Someone asked after a long while. I don't know, we can only wait for true monarch to come. The surface exit of the 9 nether portal leading to the outside world, Taisu true monarch looked at the shocking scene in the sky in amazement. This power of heaven and earth made him feel weak after a long absence. It seems that I have to speed up and hurry up. Daojun Taizu swayed and flew forward at an extremely fast speed. Within the lock demon formation, Song Wudao also looked at the scene in front of him with a little surprise. In the great formation, the vast mountains and rivers, the mountains were scorched, all the grasses turned into ashes, and only the few remaining large monster bones lay scattered everywhere. This is the scenery washed by thunder, a dead silence, no life. Perceiving the corpse of the monster that was scorched by the thunder in the distance, Song Wudao said nothing. The power is a bit big. The thunderstorm caused the entire formation just now, and even such a large area within the formation almost didn't contain it. Like a cluster of huge thunder flowers blooming, trying to squeeze out. Vigorous, unassuming, and full of vitality. I didn't control the range of the lightning, and I don't know if anyone accidentally injured the Tianhe sect. Just don't die. After absorbing the essence of the monster, the feeling of hunger in his eyes has been much better, and it has faded to almost nothing. Then he immediately followed the range within the formation, looking for traces of cultivator back and forth. After a while, he used the power of the soul to search all places again. The speed of this round trip is extremely fast because there is no eye to absorb the essence. Then, fortunately, he did not find traces of the cultivator, which shows that no one was injured or implicated this time. Although he didn't know why the guard was gone, it didn't matter. It's time to go, Song Wudao said contentedly. At this moment, in the scorched earth, a soft green light group suddenly appeared, quickly rushed into Song Wudao's arms, and then merged into his body. The lock demon array, the sole mark of the weapon of the main array. What do you do with this thing? Not good. The Falongding in the lock demon formation has lost contact. Ji Yu Hai suddenly shouted, his face becoming more and more uncertain. Hearing these words, the ancestors of Tianguan outside the great array were also panicked. Some people are even more pale. This Falongding, as the main weapon of the locking demon great array, once loses control, it means that there is a huge problem in this great array, and the matter has reached the point where it is irreparable. How come? There has never been such a thing, and there are tens of thousands of monsters in it. There are more than 30 people in the Sky Pass alone, not to mention the one at the deepest level. Once there is a loophole, the consequences will be disastrous. How can this be done? Someone hurried around in place. Ji Yu Hai's complexion was gloomy, but he repeatedly played magic tricks in his hand, trying to contact this main array weapon again. Several other people also looked at him expectantly, but in the end, Ji Yu Hai still looked gray and shook his head with a dejected look. Everyone suddenly felt ashamed of death. At this time, the jade metal on Ji Yu Hai's body glowed, and someone sent him a message. After seeing it, his complexion has improved a lot. Consoling everyone. Everyone, true monarch will be here soon. Let's try harder to maintain it. Having said that, after hearing the news, the expressions of the others eased down. Then a few people mobilized the formation of the Lock Demon formation to maintain the operation of the formation. It's just that they are limited in what they can do. Although they continue to move, they feel more and more strenuous. In the array, Song Wudao felt the spirit mark from the main array weapon, and followed this force to find the opponent. Due to the concealment of formation, he could only vaguely perceive the high grade of this main formation weapon, and it is connected to the majestic destiny of the Tianhe sect. Song Wudao felt it, but Tianhe sect's destiny seemed to be hidden behind the curtain, majestic and mysterious. What are you going to do? He asked the weapon of the main array. This should be a Fangding tripod. Main at #%. Song Wudao frowned. This tripod should be very spiritual, but due to the need to maintain the operation of the large formation, it is not convenient to communicate with him now. And the information transmission ability of this spirit symbol was very weak, so Song Wudao had to be patient and communicate with it. Maybe something important will happen. The transfer of divine thoughts was extremely rapid, and dozens of conversations passed in a blink of an eye. Song Wudao roughly guessed what the spirit logo wanted to express. Do you want to recognize me as Lord? Song Wudao was surprised, and after continuing to communicate with him, Song Wudao learned that this main array weapon turned out to be unowned. No, even if you don't have a master, I can't want you. After all, you are part of the Tianhe sect, and I am not the person of the Tianhe sect. How can I easily decide where you belong? Song Wudao refused to say. As if he hadn't expected his refusal, the Shenhun logo hurriedly explained to him. Mastering this main array weapon requires Diva's strength, and the Tianhe sect hasn't appeared in Diva for a long time. According to the previous owner of this array device, in the Tianhe sect, whoever has the strength of Diva can control it. But who could have thought that the cultivation of later generations would decline, and the diva state would have been extinct for too long in the Tianhe sect? If this development continues, diva may not appear in the past few thousand years. Therefore, when Song Wudao displayed the Nine Heavens thunder falling technique, it took the initiative to show up, and wanted to recognize him as the master. It turned out to be the rule of the previous master. In this case, it's okay to accept yours. Seeing the longing expressed in this sacred instrument, Song Wudao made such a decision. Probably because this sacred artifact stayed here for too long, it was a little uncontrollable. That's why it was so enthusiastic for Song Wudao, who met the requirements. A ray of light shone past, and this soul symbol was completely integrated into Song Wudao's body. This is the end of acknowledgement of the Lord. Song Wudao felt that a mysterious and abnormal connection suddenly appeared between him and the weapon of the main formation, as if he had been with him for a long time. He easily grasped the main information about this sacred artifact. So your name is Falongding. The level is strangely high, reaching the top of the sacred weapon. Not only that, according to Song Wudao's understanding, over the years, if it weren't for the limitations of the world, it might have become an existence on top of the sacred artifact. In addition, the reason why the Lock Demon Array sheltered the monsters in the array was indeed as observed by Song Wudao. It uses the monsters here as a battery to provide power for suppressing the 9 serenities. It's just that, if this is the case, is it a bit too much to do it yourself? In the vast mountains and rivers and land, it is now bare, and there is no monster. It is no longer possible to provide any power. But Song Wudao didn't care immediately. With his ability, now that the monsters here are gone, he just went to the outside world to catch them. After signing in these years, he has noticed the traces of many powerful monsters. Nothing to embarrass. At this time, his body cultivator suddenly began to rise unnaturally. What's the situation? This is, the heavenly luck of the Tianhe sect is actively promoting my cultivation base. He said after some perception. It seems that I need a good closed-door training. After pondering for a moment, Song Wudao's figure disappeared in a flash, disappearing in the Lock Demon Array, without a trace. At this time, outside the Lock Demon formation, Tai Su True Monarch just arrived. Seeing the extremely strong Tianguan gathered outside the Lock Demon Array, he shouted. Get out of the way, this is no longer something you can handle. The farther you hide now, the better. He has a serious expression, and the seriousness of this matter has already begun to emerge based on the violent thunder waterfall that has just fallen from the sky for some reason. That made him feel a very weak thunder waterfall, not to mention these doormen who only had the celestial pass. Ji Yu Hai, let him talk to me about the situation. True Monarch, for the sake of the stability of the Great Formation, Tianhe sect will not suffer disaster. Ji Yu Hai has already entered after the thunderstorm. Tai Su True Monarch's complexion sank. The situation in the Lock Demon formation was complicated, and there were more than 30 demon in the sky. And now the situation is even more unknown. Seeing the more peaceful and silent array, he felt more and more unpredictable. Settling down the other doorman, he immediately uttered torrential pressure and entered. Because of the thunder waterfall, Tezu has already managed to face a difficult and dangerous situation. After all, he knows that in this Lock Demon formation, there is another big demon who resembles his realm, but with special methods. Moreover, the 30 heavenly pass monsters, facing them, even for True Monarch, it is difficult to gain any advantage for a while. However, the scene in reality shocked him inexplicably, and even felt terrified. All the mountains and rivers of the Great Array that can be covered by the power of the soul are all turned into scorched earth, and in the Great Array, there are only a few bones of the monster. Under strange circumstances, the dead souls are born with a cold. What exactly is going on? What's the matter? Tai Su horrified, where did all the monsters go here? Except for the small amount of bones in front of him, it can prove that they existed before, but they didn't leave any traces. But he can clearly know that a day ago, no, an hour ago, there was still a scene of monsters gathering and fighting each other. Could it be that they are out of trouble? As soon as this idea emerged, Tai Su was frightened by himself. There are various realm monsters here, although the Tianhe sect has not been carefully counted, but there will be at least 10,000. If it is really out of trouble, it is a scene in the end, he can hardly imagine it. It will be a catastrophe for the world. Tu Su thought, just before coming in, someone had briefly described what happened here for him. He even understood that the main array weapon could not communicate with each other. This made him flustered. Since history, the Longding has never lost contact. Because of this, the monster has gotten out of trouble and has become an unprecedented possibility. I hope that these monsters have not completely gone, and traces of their escape can be seen here, otherwise it will be difficult to find the master of them again. Tai Su flew away, and the power of the soul was gushing out like a tide, scanning every space within the formation. Hundreds of miles, thousands of miles, thousands of miles. What frightened him was that no matter how far he walked, the inside of the formation was like this, without change. Looking at the black scorched earth, his face became as gloomy as his heart. It is difficult to find information about the existence of monsters in front of them. Where can I find traces of their whereabouts? There is no way. He continues to search, can only pin his inner expectations in the remaining half of the space. Ji Yu Hai comes in first. Maybe he can find Ji Yu Hai, he can know something. No, still no. Not only was there no monsters, but even the various Taoist auras that these monsters had left in the past were also clean. Gradually, the confusion and fear in Tai Su True Monarch's heart grew, and it was like someone deliberately erased all traces of the land. But who is it and how did it do it? According to the records of Tianhe sect's archives, it is impossible for any monster in the Lock Monster formation to be able to do this. Even the special monster in the deepest part of the formation is the same. Could someone rescue them? The lack of clues. Tai Su True Monarch speculates wildly. Otherwise, how could the people outside the formation not see the scene of 10,000 demons running away? Someone rescued. This is the most likely guess. If this is the case, is this person not afraid to offend the common people and commit an unforgivable sin? Besides, Tai Su True Monarch has a weird face. What to do to save these monsters? These monsters can't provide any help for cultivation. Can save these monsters in the hinterland of Tianhe sect in such a short time. This kind of character is not good for monsters. Even if you want to save, you should have saved it long ago. How can you wait until now? In the past few hundred years, Tianhe sect has faced threats of being threatened by several other super product sects. Anyone knows, that is the best time. Thinking about it, this thing revealed weirdness everywhere. True Monarch. Suddenly, Tai Su True Monarch collided with Ji Yu Hai's spirit, and Ji Yu Hai immediately responded, immediately exposed the ecstasy that can be easily felt in the divine mind. In less than a moment, Tai Su True Monarch had reached Ji Yu Hai's side. He raised his hand and stopped the other party's salute. It's urgent now. Keep everything simple. First tell me what happened after you came in. Yes, True Monarch. Afterwards, Ji Yu Hai told Tezu about his own discovery through divine consciousness. Simply put, since entering this place, in addition to feeling the pressure of different search here. Most importantly, he also found the skeleton of a great demon with the strength of Tiangguan. Tu Su hurriedly asked Ji Yu Hai to find the skeleton. Looking at the shattered skeleton that had been smashed by the thunder before him, Tai Su was silent. Ji Yu Hai introduced that the monster represented by this bone was one of the monsters trapped in the formation before the turmoil. True Monarch, what's going on here? Ji Yu Hai asked curiously. Originally, he was also a catastrophe, but after seeing this skeleton, he suddenly had more hope in his heart. I don't know, I will explore this place first, Tai Su said. After that, the two of them moved deeper and deeper, and gradually saw more bones left by the monsters in Tiangguan. They are getting more and more shocked. What is happening here? Why are there so many Tiangguan monsters bowing their heads? You must know that even the strongest of the 5 true monarchs, Tai Yi, can't do this level in a short time. Finally, when the two saw the remains of the true monarch monster, they were shocked and their mouths couldn't close for a while. This corpse represents that if Tianhe sect true monarch was present at that time, it is likely that this will be the end that will be ushered in. Horrible, Ji Yu Hai muttered. Yes, however, although I don't know the specific reason, this incident is considered sect's luck. In addition to being shocked, Tai Su still has more to comment on. And the timing of this thunderstorm is very clever, just after the turbulence of the battle, and there is a strong natural power in it. It now seems that this is more like the accident caused by the monster desire to get out of trouble, but does not want to cause the heaven and the earth to punish. Tai Su said. The monsters in the lock demon fighting formation are all sinful. Once they appear outside the big formation or their breath leaks out, they may cause heavenly tribulation punishment. In that case, it was these monsters who wanted to get rid of their troubles, but they hurt themselves. These monsters are really too stupid. What true monarch said. Gu Hai agreed. Then he quickly told the news to all the heavenly gates who were still uneasy guarding outside. The news made everyone breathe a sigh of relief, and then a little bit of joy. I thought it was a catastrophe, but I didn't expect it to be a good thing. The willows are bright, and the peaks are turning around. Now it's okay, these monsters have been wiped out, so there is no need to worry about problems with the lock monster formation in a short time. Yes, sect's pressure can also be reduced a lot. After a while, another good news came out. The weapon of the main array, Falongding, can be contacted again. Everyone is pleased. If Falongding is unable to contact them at this point, it will cause them serious troubles, but will cause exaggerated losses. This artifact is connected to the heavenly fate of the Tianhe sect, and it is indispensable at all times. After that, the matter passed. Looking at this matter, although the process was tortuous, the result was good. On the other side, Refining Mountain, Song Wudao started another closed-door training. But this time passed quickly, and in a blink of an eye, this was already the first 1,000 years he had obtained the system and embarked on the road of cultivation. On the first day of the first millennium, dark clouds gathered in the sky, and there seemed to be thunder looming. Song Wudao briefly woke up from the cultivation, the power of the soul deeply concerned about the sky. Heavenly tribulation began. Song Wudao returned to the self-locking demon array, and the 88th year he started closed-door training was also the 1,000 years he started cultivation. On this day, dark clouds gathered in the sky, spreading layer by layer, and the thunder was looming in it. Heavenly tribulation. This is a way of blocking the cultivator's breakthrough to the Diva realm. The reason seems to be that heaven and earth are weak and cannot carry too much power, so heavenly tribulation is set. At the same time, because the power of this heavenly tribulation is too strong, almost no one has been able to make breakthroughs in the past few thousand years. So this heavenly tribulation is also called the seal of heaven and earth. For the cultivator at the top of the true monarch, it is like an endless thick wall that separates them from any path in the Diva realm. However, now this heavenly tribulation seemed to be confused and hesitant. After a while, it actually dissipated on its own initiative. And from the beginning to the end, the appearance and disappearance of this heavenly tribulation power were too obscure. This resulted in its appearance not even noticed by anyone except Song Wudao. It was discovered that no damage was done to me, to avoid wasting power, so it dissipated. Looking at the meaning, it seems to be true. It turns out that I'm already so strong. At this time Song Wudao discovered that the vitality contained in the blade type on his body was more than 1,000 times that of when he had just condensed. As for the quality of vitality, it is far superior. It can be seen how terrifying Song Wudao's cultivation base is. So, I am invincible. Song Wudao smiled slightly. In this world, it is difficult for him to find a decent opponent. But, Song Wudao touched his eyes, rubbing them. These eyes are still not completely conceived. The birth process of Dao Tong was unexpectedly long. But over the years, nothing has been gained. In the eyes, although it is still very vague, it is difficult to distinguish the brilliance. But gradually other characteristics were born. Whenever he turned his attention to these eyes, multiple images would appear in them. Just like this time, colored lights flashed quickly in his closed eyes, representing vivid scenes everywhere. Among these scenes, there are ordinary people walking on the street, there are cultivators in the depths of the immortal cave closed-door training, there are elk drinking water, young birds flying high, all kinds. Even though these scenes were sometimes blurred and sometimes clear, they still enjoyed Song Wudao very much. These pictures are supremely delicious to a blind man. In the bright golden eyes, a mysterious Dao Yun was born again, and he could look far away across the sky and the earth. Tianhe sect's secret realm, a slender and hazy figure sitting cross-legged, both familiar and unfamiliar. Ji Kaishuan, is she stepping through the sky? I haven't seen it for more than 500 years, right? She has already practiced this way. If you practice for more than 1,000 years, you can hit the realm of heaven, and the speed is very fast. Song Wudao said, although he himself used far less time than this number, he has a system, a cultivation technique and resources far beyond others. This kind of fastness seemed reasonable to him, and there was nothing to say. But Ji Kaixuan was different. She was able to conquer the heavens within 1,000 years by relying on her own cultivation, which can be said to be very enchanting. At this age, I tried to step into the heavenly pass. Even the Tianhe sect was rare in ancient times. However, Ji Kaixuan, who was still alive just now, suddenly stopped. Unfortunately, it's too early. If it is 100 years later, it may not be impossible. Seeing Ji Kaixuan, who was freezing all over, Song Wudao said, "If you want to hit the heavenly pass, you need enough Dao comprehension." Although Ji Kaixuan possesses the body of Taiyan, she is good at comprehending the rhyme of Dao Dao, and her understanding of Dao Dao far surpasses her peers. However, it is still a bit short of the requirement of breakthrough to the heavenly gate. This is only a difference, which caused her to fail this time. And if Ji Kaixuan really fails this time, then her body is likely to fall into serious trauma. Another shock can only wait decades later. Obviously, Ji Kaixuan also understands this truth, so even though her body is trembling and crumbling, she is still insisting on it. Longing for a miracle to happen. Song Wudao sighed helplessly, and then slapped out the peerless cultivation technique he had signed in earlier. Breaking into a realm of heaven is the key to comprehension. Whether it can be promoted with this cultivation technique depends on Ji Kaixuan's luck. He can only help here. In the secret realm, under the celestial mist, Ji Kaixuan stiffened and trembled unnaturally. At this time she regretted her own eagerness for quick success. If it weren't for this, how could she have fallen into such a dilemma? I sigh in my heart, can I only wait for the next opportunity in decades? However, at the moment when her heart was depressed and her face turned gray, a verse from the Great Avenue that she had never seen before came into her mind. Immediately afterwards, Ji Kaixuan's spirit was shaken, her complexion changed. This Taizan sword scripture is exactly what I need. This time the breakthrough has increased by at least 40%, so if I count it, 80% of me will be able to break into the heavens. Ji Kaixuan thought happily. After the breakthrough gradually stabilized, doubts arose in her mind. It stands to reason that only the true monarchs of the Tianhe sect can perceive her condition at this moment and give her this kind of just right guidance. However, the power of the soul that transmits the scriptures is not like anyone in the true monarch. In the darkness, there is a touch of familiarity. This is really strange. On the other hand, seeing that Ji Kaixuan's breakthrough had stabilized, Song Wudao also let go. In this world, there are not many people who have a relationship with him, and Ji Kaixuan is a very important one. Naturally want to help her. Turning his head, he looked further away at will. Soon, he found another person who was important to him. It is a soft and graceful figure. What? Song Wudao was surprised. The apprentice is in trouble. I saw that far away from Song Wudao, Zhou Ziyi was holding a sharp sword, fighting a dozen strange figures. For more than 500 years, although Song Wudao was always in the closed-door training, he still appeared a few times and gave Zhou Ziyi enough guidance. So in more than 500 years, Zhou Ziyi has already been promoted to Dongshuan realm. Strength is very powerful. At this time, she fought with more than a dozen people whose realm was significantly higher than her, and she was still able to fight and retreat, and to protect herself was enough to explain the problem. Looking at this rhyme, the opponents are all Devil Dao people, and I don't know what Ziyi did. But this chase can be regarded as an experience, so you can't get too involved. Only, Song Wudao looked at Zhou Ziyi's ambush in the Heavenly Pass realm strong man, his face was displeased. My apprentice, what are you adults doing here? As he said, a knife burst out of his fingertips, extremely casual. Thousands of miles away, this sword energy came in an instant, and the Heavenly Pass powerhouse who was ambushing Zhou Ziyi's path forward silently died. Well, you don't need to worry about it now. With a master like him, how could Zhou Ziyi lack the means of escape? Suddenly, a familiar feeling of hunger reappeared. Wait a moment, when you were always fed. In an empty quiet room, Song Wudao's voice sounded, and then temporarily suppressed this desire. As for Tianhe sect, with Zhou Ziyi's return, many elders once again gathered to discuss matters. Zhou Ziyi's first words shocked everyone, and even turned pale. Skyline. I'm afraid a demon is coming here. In these years, I have been slaying demons and demons outside for a long time, and before I knew it, I discovered the big secrets of Devil Dao. At the place where sect was discussing, Zhou Ziyi was serious about own discovery. Devil Dao's 4 sects, 7 kills, 10,000 souls, blood fiends, and Sen Luo, have been searching for the disabled for nearly 1,000 years. The reason for this is to hold a sacrificial ceremony, sacrifice it, communicate with the demon of the heavens, and prepare for the coming of the demon of the heavens. Now that 1,000 years have passed, they will succeed soon. Hurry up and inform the ancestors and sect leader, this is no longer something we can handle. Newly appointed Elder Shu Haisheng said immediately, with a serious expression. Elder left quickly, and the crowd was full of sorrow. They trust sect Elder Zhou Ziyi very much. They all know that Zhou Ziyi's mother was persecuted to death by Devil Dao for being a natural disabled. So the authenticity of this news is beyond doubt. However, the more so, the heavier it makes them feel. Heaven, that is a legendary vocabulary. As long as you become the realm of Diva, it is possible to go beyond the place. One can imagine how powerful the demon came down from such a place. Even if it's just the next one, there is no such thing as a world where the Diva cultivator was born. Can it be resisted? The elders were silent, they could only put all their hopes on the ancestors. Lianbing Mountain, the residence of Song Wudao. The physique of the disabled people is special. As long as the 4 major demon sects sacrifice them with secret techniques, they can obtain the ancient flames of the void that melts the void. Song Wudao repeated what Zhou Ziyi said just now. What Shuzhou Gaian is, for the time being, it is still unknown, but it should be very extraordinary if it can melt the void and connect those demons to the heavens. Yes, Master, Zhou Ziyi replied. For nearly 1,000 years, the 4 major demon sects have been searching for the disabled, and then offering sacrifices to obtain this ancient flame, trying to attract a demon called the true God from the heavens to come, and now they are about to succeed. Zhou Ziyi said that her face was calm, and she did not have any extra emotions because of the fact that this incident was related to the death of her mother. For more than 500 years, many things have grown and changed. Is it true? Something flashed past in his memory. It turned out to be so, I understand. Back then, Qi Yan and his son had talked about this incident for the satanic lurking in the Tianhe sect, and he also obtained a strange thing called the Atlas of True Gods from the 2 of them. It's a pity that he didn't know how to search for the soul at the time, nor was he able to crack such an item, and then he left it aside. So I haven't been able to learn more information. Now that he heard the word, True God, again, he understood that there was such a story behind it. Master, if there really is a demon in the heavens, in order to maintain the stability of the airway and gain more ancient flames, he is likely to come and arrest you, you must be careful. Zhou Ziyi worried. Song Wudao nodded and smiled. I see, don't worry, you master, I am very good. Immediately his soul power went to explore the True God catalog in the corner of the storage ring. Sure enough, the content of this black atlas has changed with the occurrence of this incident. Is it true? It sounds very strong, maybe this will be an opponent who will test his current strength. Nanban, 100,000 mountains, some inaccessible mountains. Super Product Sect is the residence of Jingshu Ferry Gate, a valley. The ancient trees are verdant, the streams are flowing, and the valley is filled with a touch of tranquility and morality. There is a cultivator sitting in it at will, quietly meditating, and comprehending the way of longevity. They were dressed in Chinese clothes and looked peaceful and peaceful. At this moment, there was a sneer in the sky. This voice is not loud, but it clearly reflects in the ears of everyone around it, and there seems to be a big horror in the dark. A chill came from the bottom of my heart for no reason. Numerous cultivators looked up, their eyes touched the sky, and they saw amazing sights. What is this? The world seems to be shaking. So powerful, go and report to the ancestor. I saw the sky like a piece of blue paper, burnt to black by the pale flame, and then pieces of residue fell, leaving a black original darkness that could not be healed. At this moment, the empty sky in the past turned into substance under this emptiness and pale flame. Seeing this kind of situation, the masters of the Taoist profound master of Jingshu immortal sect rose to the ground. Above the sky, all kinds of Tao Dharma and tactics bloomed, colorful, but did not affect the void in the slightest. Of course people doubt whether this will work. And then, what made Jingzumin fearful? In the hollow black original darkness, wisps of purple-black lonely flames flowed out. Once these flames appeared in the sky, they immediately exuded a terrifying power. At the same time, all the masters in the sky were contaminated by purple and black flames. But the flames are like Tarsus maggots, constantly pestering them, trying their best to extinguish them, but it has no effect at all. Then, in an instant, these masters were reduced to ashes in pain and fear, and finally disappeared. Help, help, ancestor, hurry up and invite the ancestors. The people in the ferry gate below screamed in shock and fled in all directions. Is it here? The vitality is too thin, you can't even let go of your hands and feet, so let's stay in the true monarch realm for now. Anyway, with the means of the gods, it is impossible for anyone in this world to be able to defeat it. An indifferent voice came from the tunnel, and then a figure suddenly appeared. This figure was dressed in a black cloak, and his face was handsome and enchanting. A pair of pill phoenix eyes were hanging down quietly, as if it contained a boundless chill that could freeze the world. And in the passage, a statue of Dongshuan, the demon of Tianguan realm, constantly emerged. True God, meet the true God, long live the true God. One after another shouts sounded. Seeing the appearance of this true God, the heavenly gates of the 4 great demon sects appeared here and bowed down one after another. Creeping in front of this true God, like the most pure believer, convinced. Devil Dao is weak in this world, and they often have a very difficult life. Now that the Savior has arrived, they naturally greet them with the greatest ability. And as soon as the true gods come, they will be able to live a good life right away. As the Miyu summoned, the true God looked down and asked quietly, but his power was terrifying. Yes, a Tianguanjing answered boldly. Haha, not bad, able to persist for nearly 1,000 years. Hearing the praise from the true God, everyone was excited. Next, you continue to use the ancient Shantian flame, and don't let it pass until it breaks. Then, lead the way. Go to our site and take a look at the ants that get in the way. In the words, the world seemed to be already in his palm. Yes, the masters of the 4 great demon sects led the way and replied. True God's gaze dropped from the sky, and fell into the Jingshu Immortal Gate, with contempt in his eyes. Below, the divine consciousness of the Tianguan realm swept, and there was even a shortage of people from the true monarch realm. Hey, there are a few stronger ants here, ready to resist. True God laughed and joked, and the little true monarch second stage realm dared to watch his existence. Court death. The faint words fell, as if the final judgment was under. With his arm gently swung down, countless black and purple flames gushed out from the dark and deep tunnel, raining down on the earth with an indelible and burning mood. After a breath, the originally clear and beautiful valley turned into a land of flames. The black and purple flames grew vigorously, burning away everything, and the screams continued to spread to the sky. Everyone in the demon sect was shocked. It was super grade sect, one of the only 6 forces in the world. Didn't perish like this. They couldn't believe it, but everything they saw in front of them told them that this was the truth. Holding their breath, their hearts were full of enthusiasm. Their choice to invite the upper body to come is indeed the right one. From then on, no one can stop them anymore. The clouds swept away, the sky was clear, and the true gods and the demon sects headed towards the Tianhe sect. The dark hole in the sky steadily increased until the pale flame maintained a balance with the restorative power of the world. The devil keeps appearing, flocking in all directions. Tianhe Zong. The sky was as dark as ink, and boundless layers of clouds gathered, and a depressive and unknown atmosphere enveloped the Tianhe sect. No, it doesn't look right this day. Han Dang Elder said. He who is responsible for collecting data from various parties and processing intelligence all the year round is very sensitive to changes. The scene of the sky in front of me is different from usual. Suddenly, his eyes widened, his fingers pinched his chin, his eyes showed a very surprised look. On the horizon, countless people from the demon sect flew over with a strange-looking young man. Devil Dao, when did these people be so arrogant and dare to come home like this? Do not, he reacted, and Devil Dao had to suffer in front of their super sects on weekdays, and his weakness was not a day or two. If they want them to appear in front of the Tianhe sect so openly, there is only one possibility. Quick, notify the disciple in the door, Stick to your post as planned, the devil has come. Han Dang roared angrily, and then he hurriedly gathered in the direction agreed in advance. At this time, Elder in the Tianhe sect discovered an abnormality in the sky, and hurried over like Han Dang. A square not far from the entrance of Tianhe sect, the front line of Tianhe sect's defensive position. The elders gathered here. Sect leader, exit. Han Dang suddenly whispered to a slender and graceful beautiful woman among the crowd. Then he felt an oppressive force on his face. This is the heavenly pass, and Han Dang's eyelids twitched. Sect leader has stepped into the realm. This has only been more than 1,000 years. Such a talent, it is not too much to call a evildoer, and it is even beyond. Speaking of it, Ji Kaishuan also grew up watching her and others. If the old sect leader and penalty elder are still alive, they can get the news. He would definitely laugh from ear to ear. Han Dang showed grief on his face. It's just a pity that sect is facing a big disaster now, and I don't know whether it can get through it. He silently prayed in his heart. A lot of elders around came afterwards, and then slid over Ji Kaishuan's body. There were expressions of shock, joy, and regret in the pupils of the eyes, and they were roughly the same as Han Dang thought. Everyone, I just broke through, the Daoyun breath is not well controlled, please forgive me for being rude. Stop gossip. This time Zhou Zi's secret submission by elder is true, and the passage of the heavens is probably connected. Now that Devil Dao is attacking, the enemy is imminent. I have sent someone to notify the ancestors deep in sect. Ji Kaishuan introduced the situation to the many elders present in brief words. In other words, the demon of the heavens is likely to have come. Big Elder said to himself. The elders also expected this result. Their faces are heavy, their brows are furrowed, or the weather is uncertain, and some of them have anger written in their eyes. Thousands or tens of thousands of years, the 4 major demon sects have been in front of the 6 super-grade forces and can't lift their heads, hiding everywhere. Now he turned over unknowingly, threatening them seriously, which is too depressing. Aren't they afraid of catching fire? Someone is angry, but in fact he also knows that those people of Devil Dao will only plan for their own future, never consider other people, otherwise they will not be hit by them, and they will be so miserable. So even if you set fire to your body, what if the creatures in this world are shattered? By then, they have already followed the demon of the heavens, so why bother about it? Big Elder, you are responsible for coordinating the various departments in the door. Second Elder, you prevent sect from distributing medicine pill, organize the gathering of disciples, and run the Shuzong formation. 5 Elder, you go to the sect treasure pavilion and take out the magic treasures of Junzong. Orders were issued from Ji Kaishuan's mouth in an orderly manner, and then quickly executed by each elder. In addition, I have already sent support requests to other super product sects. The situation is grim, Tianhe sect is in danger, this is something that has to be done. Not long after, a large array of golden light lights up, and the dim world without the sun protects the Tianhe sect. The Tianhe sect person with a serious face and anxious expression was relieved a little. Almost at the same time, the true gods and demon sect powerhouses came outside the Tianhe sect. Enlightened to God, this is the nearest portal to the underworld. At the same time, it is also the place where the Tianhe sect with the deepest heritage in the super sect is located. Next to the true god, the sect leader of the Blood Fiend sect was like a dog with its tail raised, and immediately introduced. What is lit up in front of you is the guardian formation of the Tianhe sect. This formation has a long heritage and is powerful. It is said that there has never been a record of breaking. Excited in his heart, he was about to witness the destruction of Tianhe sect. These people probably thought that the main force of this trouble was our 4 major demon sects. Haha, who would have thought that they had already invited God over? He was secretly proud in his heart, and finally figured out the evil anger that was suppressed by the right way, and never need to see these things again. Is it? The crowd surrounds the center, their real expressions are faint, as if they are not interested. And below, elder and disciples are united. Relax to the big formation. I don't believe it, my Tianhe sect's guarding formation will not be able to prevent him. The elder angrily gave orders to many disciples. Yes, disciples replied. After learning that sect was in a life and death crisis, they ran the formation with all their strength. I saw the Tianhe sect in midair, and the formation light became brighter and brighter, showing an extraordinary coercion. The feeling of being guarded gave birth to sect disciples full of confidence. At this time, above the dark clouds, the indifference and ridicule in the eyes of the strange and handsome man also became apparent. Raising his arms lightly, a powerful force of imperial resistance was generated, and the horrible rhyme of Taoism rushed out. In an instant, he launched his first attack on the formation of the Tianhe sect. Tianhe sect was in full view. Purple-black, deep and violent flames flowed out, forming a huge sky-shaking handprint, which suddenly overturned towards the golden sect shield. Boom! The loud noise spread everywhere. Then there was the sound of things breaking. Above the light curtain of the protective array, the cracks continued, and finally a big hole appeared with a bang. The fragments at the entrance of the cave were torn apart, falling from the sky, and dissipating in a vitality halfway. How come? The elder was dumbfounded, in disbelief. This demon turned out to be just under a single strike and shattered the guard array. Moreover, the number of levels used to observe its power is just like the true monarch's. I am afraid it has not exceeded this level too much. The power is so terrifying. The great array was just breached like this. Ji Kaishuan muttered to herself. This is one of the most shocking sights in her life. Quick, quick, organize the disciples, repair the formation. Elder shouted. Although this is the first time he has seen this situation, after all, Ji Kaishuan is too old, and based on experience, he immediately reacted. Then everyone awakened from the confusion and shock, and turned into rainbow rays and flew around the gap in the large array. Although they knew in their hearts that doing so would inevitably be suspected of being a car. But this is the best choice that I have temporarily. Above the dark clouds, once again witnessing the power of God's action, the powerful demon sects glanced at each other, and their hearts were restless. This time, they are determined to win. Yes, under this ant, there is indeed the Daoyun breath of Mingtu. The demons here can be used by me. Hee, you guys are doing very well. The true God boasted casually. Subordinates should. The powerful demon sects looked down and replied in unison. Then they looked at Tianhe sect with scorching eyes. There is a naked desire that cannot be concealed. There are many treasures in there. The true God glanced at them slightly, clearly understanding what they were like, but he didn't mind at all. This kind of greedy talent can be used by him. So he raised his arm slightly and pointed at Tianhe sect. Go, catch them all to me. The things you get, except holy items, are at your disposal. The expressions of these powerful demon sects changed, the snake of desire seemed to climb onto their faces, and their expressions became hideous and distorted. Yes, they replied in unison. Immediately, it turned into black rainbow lights and rushed to all parts of Tianhe sect, and many demons that had been summoned also followed. At this time, everyone in the Tianhe sect was horrified, and the gap in the big formation was still there. At this time, the demon heads of the Tiangguan Cave Profound Realm rushed down. Except for Ji Kaishuan, who has just been promoted to Tiangguan, sect is no better than Dongshuan 9th stage. They couldn't resist it at all. At this critical moment. Ancestor Ji Hai, Ancestor Lu Shan. Not only that, but true monarchs have all appeared. The Tianhe sect exclaimed. That's all for the ancestors. True monarch is a peerless figure that they can only see in their portraits when they get started in the Patriarch Hall. At this moment, everyone seemed to break free from the haze of death and regained the hope of life. All the difficulties in front of us can be resolved. The excited people, even repairing the gap in the big array much faster. In the distance, an old man with white hair and a straight face, carrying the other two of True Monarch and nearly 10 ancestors of the Heavenly Pass, officially appeared on the stage. Interesting. At this time, the true God said, with a rare smile. In such a barren world, there can be figures who are about to reach the peak of True Monarch. This talent is pretty good. He praised, there was a thought to use it for himself. On the other hand, Tai True Monarch and Taishi Taichu have solemn expressions, especially Tai True Monarch. As True Monarch, he is the only apprentice of the founder of Tianhe sect. He has the longest cultivation time and the highest talent among True Monarch. Realm is naturally much higher than others. Therefore, I can see it more clearly. This demon from the heavens, the energy used by himself is not higher than that of them, but the power and subtlety of his moves are far beyond. showed a suffocating toughness. One move can break the guardian formation of Tianhe sect. This level is actually not possible even at the peak of True Monarch. It seems that it won't work if you don't break through. Tai True Monarch mused. Tai Yi. The other two ancestors wanted to say something but stopped. Before Tai Yi appeared this time, it was from the True Monarch 7th stage breakthrough to the 9th stage peak failure. Now that the injury caused by breakthrough has not healed, it is necessary to forcefully break the mirror. There is a very serious damage to Tai Yi's cultivation path. I am afraid that the opportunity to go to a higher realm will be lost. No need to worry. Originally, my chance of breaking through to Diva realm was very slim. Now that sect is in crisis, I can't take care of it. Tu Yi comforted the two. But it's Diva, it's only one step away from detachment. Taishi True Monarch said. Don't say much, you have to understand how terrifying the enemy is. There is no chance of luck, I will go. After all, Tai Yi True Monarch shakes his sleeves, rises from the ground, and soars into the sky. His figure is precarious and full of breath. After taking sect's contraindicated medicine pill, the breath of rushing off came out again. The turbulent situation between the world and the earth, the profound rhyme of Taoism gathered from the body of Tai True Monarch. At the same time, a breath struck the layers of dark clouds that came with the true God. A small mouthful of blood was coughed up gently, and was swallowed secretly by Tu Yi. After a while, a gap was finally revealed in the sky, and the appearance of the world was revealed. Under a corner of the blue sky, the sun is pouring, as if it contains the most primitive instinct. At this moment, Tai Yi True Monarch turned into the light of hope for countless people in Tianhe sect. That old and tall figure was so stalwart at this time. With all eyes in full view, it is too easy to enter the peak of True Monarch. At the cost of severing the way. Immediately afterwards, a supreme sword with Yu Zhou star engraved on it, the sun and the moon and the 8 desolates was pulled out by it. The sword screamed, the sky shook, and the universe seemed to be running in it. Then Tu Yi shouted, Tianhe sect, all those who carry the inheritance. Kill the enemy with me. He roared and rushed towards the young man with a strange and terrifying breath in the sky. The crowd in Tianhe sect was very angry and blood boiled. They all shouted out their deepest impulse. Kill. The shout was shaking. A group of ants still want to resist. Opposite, seeing this scene, the true God showed deep disdain. Forging Bingshan, seeing that Daojun Tai had made a breakthrough, Song Wudao stopped the blow he was about to swing. It doesn't hurt to look at it for the time being. Then his eyes, which hadn't been fully conceived, looked at the pictures of the true God he had obtained from Qi Yan earlier. The passage to the upper realm flashed in his eyes. This is the worst place, where there is a steady stream of demon ghosts. He stroked his chin, thinking. He had never seen such a thing before, so what should I do? In the Tianhe sect, the sound of shouting to kill was heard everywhere, the vitality was agitated, and the blood was shed. The Tianhe sect people and Devil Dao demons have a strong rhyme and auras are intertwined. Immediately there was a weapon, and in the moment of crisis, we saw life and death. Tai Yi True Monarch wields a sword in the sky and cuts out with one sword, light cutting through the sun and the moon. A huge sword mark arranges the sky and the earth, from one end to the other. Madness. At this time, the real demon still has spare power. Boy, I see you have a good talent, it's better to go with me. Keep your splendor and wealth, the Avenue realm, you can pick it up with only one hand, you can find it everywhere. Why waste time in such a small place? A voice full of temptation and magic sounded, as if it contained the great truth of the world. It seems that as long as you listen to this voice, you can get anything you want. Tai Yi True Monarch's eyes flickered, bursting with a firm light like gold and iron. How about the Avenue? What about the higher realm? For the survival of the younger generation of sect and the immortality of the tradition, he is not even afraid of death. Not to mention these things. The kendo attack that seemed to kill the heaven and the earth, forcefully smashed down. I don't know how to raise a dog. Seeing this scene where the other party was not tempted, the true God's face showed anger. Since you are so ignorant of good and bad, then what do I leave you to do? Purple flame. True God scolded lightly, and a vast ocean of purple fire suddenly appeared. There is a burning sensation in the heaven and earth for no reason, under his intent. The purple flame ocean expanded rapidly, covering the sky, and then crashed into the sword. Boom! When the two attacks met, a storm of vitality was born, making a huge sound that seemed to open up the world. At the place of battle, a slight crack appeared in the void, and the space seemed to be decayed at this moment. Behind the thick mist of vitality, the sky is hidden. The people of the Tianhe sect who still have spare energy outside the battle, stared at everything in the sky with the corner of their eyes. 1. Lost. Before the Yuan Qi mist dissipated and the mystery was revealed, Taishi and Taichu rushed in one after another. All the people in the battle breathed a sigh of relief. It should be stable this time. 5 Elder, Zhou Zi, follow me to kill the sect leader of the 10,000 soul sect. Old ancestor Ji Yuhai had just solved an opponent, and then said to the two who were also free. True monarchs have worked so hard, their younger generations can't losing face. Yes, the two immediately replied. However, the next moment, a scene that shocked the three of them appeared. I saw all kinds of light twinkling in the thick and boundless, bottomless mist. Then the fog was blown through by the long wind, and 3 figures were slapped out. The clothes on their chests shattered, revealing numerous scars and burned chests. With a bang, the 3 of them were continuously driven into the ground, and 3 huge potholes appeared on the ground. This moment of power shook the sky. If it were not for the broken sect formation on the ground, the thousands of mountains and rivers of the Tianhe sect would have been destroyed at this moment. How come? Everyone in Tianhe sect showed an unbelievable look. Fear was written in his eyes. Then despair bred from the bottom of my heart, like a boundless shady attack on everyone. Zhou Zi's hand holding the sword couldn't help shaking. After taking a deep breath, send a message to Lian Bingshan to let Song Wudao escape for his life. The master must be obsessed with sword making at this moment, and he hasn't noticed the demon of heaven that suddenly comes here. Now that the general situation is over, they will undoubtedly die, and master cannot be involved in it anymore. She accepted the obligation that master owed to sect. Kill. Zhou Zi carried the sacred weapon longsword, and attacked the sect leader with all his strength. Shouting to awaken the person who was still shocked, the ancestor Ji Yuhai and the 5 elder looked at Zhou Zi who was fighting forward in the pit where the 3 true monarchs were smashed. An anger ignited in his heart, grief and anger, trailing behind Zhou Zi, and fought against the sect leader of the demon sect. Kill. At this moment, almost all Tianhe sect members shouted like this. In the Tianhe sect, the rhyme of killing and cutting has never been so strong in thousands of years. Feelings of grief and indignation filled the sky above Tianhe sect, and the people of Tianhe sect gained blood and courage from life and death. On the ground battlefield, the situation has actually begun to dominate. Then, in the potholes of the earth, 3 blood-stained figures charged up again. The true god's eyes flickered and he felt irritable, and 3 ants-like things even dared to attack again. If it weren't for Ascension's power in this world, how could he be so restrained? But this is enough. Since you want to die so, then I will fulfill you. In the world, the boundless purple and black sea of fire condensed into thousands of swordsmen, and the avenues in this realm shook, as if an unforeseen disaster was about to be born. The true god waved his hand, and was about to confide his truth. On the other side, after careful thinking and consideration, Song Wudao finally found a way to cut off the passage of heaven. He smiled satisfied, and laughed softly. Here is it. He stretched out a hand, and at the bottom of the cold lake, the body of the 9 sacred weapons' peaked long blades swayed and screamed, as if they were about to fly toward him. No, a handful is enough, he said. Afterwards, the long knives quarreled with each other and couldn't wait to be the first. Finally, Zheng, a long, shimmering knife fell into Song Wudao's hands, and the killing intent on the knife seemed to penetrate the bone. Good. Perceiving the instinct from the long sword, he said casually. Then he waved his hand, and a bright knife light like the galaxy cluster lit up, and in an instant it crossed thousands of miles of mountains and rivers. Nanban, the former station of the super-grade sect Jingshu Immortal Gate in this world, is now shrouded in turbulent demon flames, as if it would not stop completely destroying this mountain and river. And above the valley, a huge gap stretched across it, and deep and terrifying darkness fell into it. The pale flames at the edge of the gap continued to burn, and demons continued to emerge from it. Beside this passage, there are many Devil Dao sect masters who maintain the passage and make it expand continuously and slowly. At this time, the roar of the road of this realm sounded, and a terrifying coercion appeared. Under the pressure, all the people and demons of the demon sect can no longer move. What is this? In their horrified eyes, heaven and earth seemed to be destroyed. The world will return to its origin. Do not, they yelled inside, but to no avail. The galaxy cluster-like knife light is like the avenue of heaven and earth, flowing in the sky, suppressing it. After the light of the devastating knife passed, all the power of Devil Tao in the world was wiped out, and then the world began to spontaneously repair the wounds in the sky, licking like an animal. After that, Song Wudao raised his hand, and a rainbow beam under his hand was a message that Zhou Zi had let him escape for his life. Has things been so severe? Just now he was thinking about how to kill the passage of heaven, but he was negligent about sect. Immediately, he projected the power of his own soul onto the battlefield of sect. But at this time, among the thousands of swordsmen formed by Ziyan, the true god's gesture came to an abrupt halt. The attack was only sent out along the way, but it was much weaker. But I was stunned on the spot, and then shouted after a moment. Who is it? Dare to break my passage? I want your life. The majestic power is surging out, and the coercion is overwhelming, covering the Tianhe sect. The three true monarchs who survived halfway through the true god offensive stopped seeing this scene, and their faces became heavier. This is the anger in the heart. Is it about to vent the anger? Sadness appeared in their eyes. If this is the case, wouldn't the Tianhe sect be completely cut off, and no one can live? Heaven and earth, my Tianhe sect has always been conscientious and upholding the right way. Why do you want to do this? At the beginning, the Taoist roared loudly. Chapter 51. On the ground battlefield of Tianhe sect, corpses were everywhere, Dao Yun was broken, and vitality was chaotic. Because the true God is so powerful, the three true monarchs of Tianhe sect have been blasted into the ground several times and punched out of deep pits, causing the morale of the Tianhe sect people to decline drastically. The demons and the demon sect cultivator took the opportunity to join forces and attack together. In a short period of time, many disciples of the Tianhe sect died in the place where they lived all the year round. Qingshan once again buried many loyal bones. But at this moment, the true God's angry rebuke came over, and invisible fluctuations swept in all directions. The Dao Yun in the sky is extremely violent, and the purple and black rays of light expand, like a hot sun, illuminating everything. The creatures on the ground, no matter which side they belong to, all shudder from instinct. Then he looked at him with trembling eyes, again timidly lowered. Devil, Hugh is crazy. With a loud shout, the three true monarchs rose to the sky again, attacking. Even if they know that they are invincible, they are not willing to give up. In an instant, there was sword chi running horizontally and horizontally, traversing thousands of miles. There are countless golden runes woven into an array, powerful. There are unknown Dao Fa tactics blooming all over the sky. In an instant, thousands of times of stacking. The mighty killing power is full of heaven and earth. Only bed bugs. All the attacks were useless, and these dazzling gods were blocked by the black and purple light mist, like sinking into a bottomless abyss, gone forever. The true God waved his arms at will, and the sky full of black and purple flames formed a ferocious dragon, entrenched in the sky, exuding world-destroying waves. In a trance, people saw the world shattered. It's not just us, even this world is going to perish. Everyone is desperate, the demon of heaven is too powerful. They have no hope of survival. Ha ha ha, God is invincible. You gang of Tianhe sect bugs, you still have to resist, it's just wishful thinking. Hurry up and die, the treasures left behind are all ours. The demon sect laughed, and then said arrogantly. Zheng. Suddenly at this time, a sonorous sound rang in the heavens and the earth, as if it could be heard by all living beings, and appeared in the ears of everyone in the field. As this voice appeared, everyone was shocked to see it. The ferocious dragon in the sky, towering like a mountain, was cut off the first level in the blink of an eye, and then disappeared. Who, drinking loudly, true God, narrowed his eyes. Is it possible that the person who broke the passage of the heavens was in the Tianhe sect? It's not easy to be able to do this kind of thing at such a long distance. Unexpectedly, in this weak world, there are such characters hidden. Come out. If you don't come out, I will kill all the people of Tianhe sect. True God, looked arrogant and looked at everyone. As he said, the black and purple flames surrounding him began to violently disturb, as if there was about to be a big move. The three true monarchs of Tianhe sect stopped in midair. They had already prepared to blow themselves up, trying to hurt this monstrous monster as much as possible. But I don't want things to usher in a turning point at this moment. It seems we can wait and see for the time being, sect still needs them. What's wrong? Lu Shan ancestor below said. Do not know. Just now it seems that a powerful swordsman made a move. It seems that the sky-destroying attack in the sky has been cut off with a single knife. Ji Yu Kaishuan replied. She was born too cute and good at perceiving various rhymes between heaven and earth. Even if she only entered the realm of Heavenly Pass for the first time, in this respect, she is much better than Lu Shan, who has been in the realm of Heavenly Pass for many years. Just now, she vaguely felt that this attack seemed to come from the Forging Soldier Mountain, which was not too far away from her. And Lianbingshan, for hundreds of years, except for Zhou Zique, only that person has stayed. Could it be him? Noisy. A voice came from the sky, filled with a faint sense of disgust. Everyone only felt that the sky and the earth were bright, and then they saw a scar with deep bones appearing on the true god's neck. The true god touched his neck in astonishment, and the blood flow stopped quickly, but the wound was difficult to heal, as if some force was preventing it. His face was pale. If it hadn't been for the protection of him just now, I'm afraid he would have been beheaded by him at this time. Although for his realm, beheading is not an irreversible injury. But the moment he recovered was definitely the weakest and easy to be taken advantage of. At that time, people were continuously attacked, and the loss was hard to measure. On the opposite side of the sky, the three true monarchs were stunned, not just because the expert was clever and unpredictable. It's also because this man didn't care when facing the demon from the heaven. It's like an adult scolding a child. Haha, I don't know which senior is so interesting. Taichu said. He is a straight-tempered man, he can say whatever he thinks. When he was about to blow himself up, he had given up everything and was determined to die. So now even if the situation is unclear, he laughs out. There was no sound for a while. Asshole. The true god was angry and mighty, and a long river of black and purple flames gathered in the sky, as if coming from above 9 heavens, falling to the world. It also seems to come from an abyss that never sees the bottom, appearing strangely in the world. Majestic and majestic, extremely beautiful, but there are great horrors and catastrophes that ordinary people can't detect. Ordinary disciples watched this long river of devilish energy condensed obsessively, and the desire to be in the bath forever rose in their hearts. This even surpassed their instincts. Amidst the rumbling sound, this long river of purple flames descended and headed towards Forging Soldier Mountain. Mouse, since you don't want to come out, then I will destroy this place and find you out. Everyone underneath looked pale, and the people of the demon sect hated them in secret. They have suffered an unsuspecting disaster. Ah! At this time, a sigh sounded in the void, seemingly reluctant. Above Dubbing Mountain, a young man in a plain green robes appeared. He closed his eyes and his face was plain. When facing the demon of heaven, even a little disgusted. The huge black and purple river that fell from the sky suddenly dissipated, as if it had been chopped into a vitality that couldn't be thinner by thousands of sword chi. There was no longer any threat. On the contrary, it hit everyone's faces like wind and drizzle. Everyone was shocked that this master could break the true god attack so easily. You know, those are the opponents that the three major true monarchs can't take even one move. While everyone was amazed, Song Wudao sighed in his heart. Sect is going to be saved after all, even if the follow-up will cause a lot of troubles. On the other side, the true god showed a triumphant smile and his face became hideous. It turns out that you are stopping me from playing like this. Hee, you can finally give it up. There was a sinister gloom in his eyes. Is this the senior? He looks so young, and it's not the kind of young man who has achieved success in his cultivation and changed his appearance. It's that Daoyun's aura resembles a young man. This senior is really good fortune, I can't wait for it. The three Tianhe sect true monarch talked with serious expressions. In fact, these three people misunderstood. What they felt was Song Wudao's true age, but they couldn't believe it. It's impossible for them to be stronger than them around the age of 1,000 years. In their cognition, there is no such character in this world. Even in the history they know, it is impossible. Sure enough, it is him. The moment Song Wudao just appeared, this voice sounded in Jiyu Kaixuan's heart. But immediately doubts arose in her heart. Although the two of them had not seen each other for hundreds of years, she believed that she still knew Song Wudao well. So even though he said he was the realm of Dongshuan pinnacle last time, what's going on now? Can ascension really reach this point in just nearly 600 years? Did you even say that it was less last time? Soon she denied that Song Wudao was not like a liar, and there was no need to cheat on. Compared to the reaction of 4 people, the reactions of others are actually different. This is the master. My Tianhe sect is saved. Is this man dispelling God's attack? But why is he blind? It seems to be a disabled person. On the other side of the sky, the true God saw Song Wudao closed his eyes, and immediately evoked a wicked smile. Ha ha ha, interesting, it turned out to be a crippled man. Use you as a torch, use your bones as a handle, use your flesh and blood as fuel, and nail your soul to it, and experience the pain of burning flames. GG, this can produce a lot of ancient inflammation of the day and night. At that time, the passage will become larger, and many people will be able to come over, and this small world will become much more interesting. The true God laughed wildly, only evil in his eyes. There was no fear of Song Wudao's shot just now. If there is no one beside him, he treats Song Wudao as a dead thing with no intelligence and no one can handle. Furious, Song Wudao frowned. The demon of the heavens is this virtue. Not even a little polite. Sure enough, it was a creature like an evil demon, it was born with such a strong intelligence, and its essence was still inhuman. Anything like you is not worth my knife. Song Wudao pouted contemptuously. True God was taken aback, and then burst into laughter. Interesting and interesting, there is still a foolish fool like you in this world. Before he could say anything, he made a bold move. A purple hammer suddenly appeared, and the mysterious aura escaped. Then zoom in quickly, like a mountain, crashing down. Oh, it is true that the nature of monsters is so good at sneak attacks. Song Wudao's 5 fingers were close together, his palms were erected, and after raising his arms, he slashed obliquely, and a huge sword air suddenly appeared, stretching mighty and extremely sharp. Laugh. A huge purple hammer made of unknown material is divided into 2 like wood. What? True God was shocked and opened his mouth wide, unable to believe it. Was the magical item at the peak of the sacred weapon cut open like this? Rao knew that Song Wudao should not be underestimated, but he still couldn't help being shocked. What kind of strength this guy opened the sacred artifact with his bare hands. Don't be distracted. Song Wudao's voice came. He hoped that the demon from heaven would not die too fast. Practice with him well and let him get familiar with his own strength. If his ascension is too fast, even this demon can't help him, then maybe he has to try to find other people in the heavens. A wave of sword energy was drawn from Song Wudao's hand, and it reciprocated back and forth in the world, shaking the avenue. The blade light was dazzling, and the eyes of the stabbing people burst into tears, and they reluctantly opened their eyes. There were only 2 figures in the sky and underground, moving wildly, barely seeing a trace. This senior, suppressing the devil's fight. Chu Yi true monarch was incredible, and the other 2 were also dumbfounded. Too strong. This is the real strong. Above the sea of clouds, the light of the sword is as bright as the Milky Way. Clearly see the terrible condition of the ground. Ever since Song Wudao waved his arm, the sea of clouds was like rags, and the sky and the earth had been stormed. Little demon, how powerful is the heaven? Song Wudao said with a smile. His curiosity arose. The true God swayed from the left to the right, struggling to support it. Hearing Song Wudao's questioning, even though his figure was a little embarrassed, he burst into laughter unexpectedly. You do not know. Ha ha ha, you don't know. It turns out that you are a realm immortal, but I thought you were also from other worlds, so you still have some strength. In that case, your life ends here. The true God figure stopped suddenly and resisted an attack from Song Wudao. One arm was chopped to pieces, and then recovered instantly. Stopped, someone said. Isn't the master heavenly pass? Zhou Ziyi was still a little dizzy at this time. In her opinion, although the master treats her very well, he is also very good at teaching her to practice. But what is better at it is the refining tool. It turns out that the master's combat power is so powerful. Zhou Ziyi has a feeling of being hit by a lucky prize. Everyone is watching the sky, and everyone in the demon sect and the Tianhe sect deeply understands the crucial battle that determines their survival at this time. Their hearts throbbed as the battle changed. Extremely nervous. You don't think I really can't beat you, do you? The breath of true God is soaring steadily, and Dao Yun becomes thicker and heavier. The figure is devilish, profound and stalwart. You're a poor thing that can't be detached for a lifetime. Since you want to know, I will tell you compassionately. Haha, there is more than one so-called heaven. It is divided according to the different practitioners. Okay, you know about it, you should go to die. Remember, it was Blackfire Venerable who killed you. After all, this demon head, no, Blackfire Venerable's body gradually cracked, and then the flesh and blood shattered suddenly, and a taller figure squeezed out. It was 3 people tall, with black skin, covered with fine scales, and it was swarthy and glowing. The top of his head is bald, but with 3 long purple horns, his face is ugly and hideous. It makes people feel very disgusting at first glance. What's this? Evil. Could it be that the heavens are the world of demons? Everyone in Tianhe sect was shocked and couldn't help but think about it. Imagine a bunch of realms terrifying demons, they couldn't help but shiver. Finally take off this layer of skin, it's really uncomfortable. If it weren't for sneaking into this place, who would bear to wear a human skin? Then, the Blackfire Venerable, who really showed his body, readily slapped Song Wudao's attack. His eyes were jokingly and expectantly, and his body was burning with black flames. Come on, little thing. The flames on his body expanded rapidly, transforming into a dark and hot realm. Swallowed Song Wudao in one bite. Song Wudao. Master, Senior. From different directions, Jiyu Kaishuan, Zhou Ziyi, Tianchu True Monarch and others exclaimed. The huge hemispherical realm spread out in the sky completely swallowed Song Wudao in. Their nervous palms squeezed sweat, and their eyelids jumped. You are done. The dogs of the Tianhe sect. The strong devil Dao was delighted to see this scene. Fell into God's realm, let's see how your savior lives. The other side. Master, you must be fine. Zhou Ziyi's eyes were full of worry. God, I'm just such a close friend. Goodbye 600 years ago. We haven't seen each other. Don't tell him to die. Even if it's making me realm stagnate from now on, even if it's just asking me to marry him, whatever it is. Jiyu Kaishuan thought. Unlike Zhou Ziyi, Jiyu Kaishuan sees it more clearly because of her physical talent and higher realm. She knows the horror of that realm, mysterious and terrifying. It made her feel far more than the fight between the two just now. Song Wudao, I'm afraid, is in danger. Senior, shouted with worry at the beginning, looking at realm like an abyss in the sky, deeply shocked. Only then did I realize that the demon hadn't used all his strength before fighting against them. At this time, Senior's pressure is probably unprecedented. Even Diva realm cannot be intact. Taiyi True Monarch puts his hand on Taichu's shoulder. Taichu turned around and saw Taiyi shook his head at him. Believe Senior. Tu was speechless at the beginning, and understood what Taiyi meant at this time. They have no other retreat, they can only believe in Senior. Good. The Senior will definitely win. At this time, within the Black Realm, Song Wudao curiously observed the surroundings. There seems to be a layer of mysterious power in it, which hinders his spirit power from functioning. This power is layered on top of each other, and the farther it is from him, the stronger this power is, and it continues to burn and erode him. However, even so, Song Wudao still observed the situation here clearly. It seems that there is nothing in it, but in fact, a huge amount of vitality has been gathering around him, turning into a special purple flame. This kind of purple flame is very powerful, even if it is just one, a true monarch powerhouse can be burned to death. And in this realm, there are at least nearly 100, and these flames are still increasing under the control of the devil. Song Wudao was a little confused. Is this a brazen move? Looking at the performance of this evil demon before, it shouldn't be so stupid. Song Wudaoshan pulled out a wisp of mysterious power in the air, and suddenly he had enlightenment. Oh, is this because you think you can't see him? Oh, it's so stupid, how come you think so? Feeling the mysterious power in realm seems to be extremely useful for him to forge a long knife. Song Wudao changed his idea of breaking this place directly. Why don't you just accompany this thing to play with it for a while? Devil, come out. Where did you go? Come out quickly, or kill all your demon sons and grandsons. In the distance, listening to Song Wudao's shout, Haihuo Venerable smiled contentedly. It's not in vain that he spent a lot of money to ascension himself to the peak of Diva realm, and then displayed this costly secret method. Hee, blind man, enjoy your last time. After this, I will torture you well. The happiest thing for you in the future will be death. After finishing speaking, it seems that the overall situation has been decided, and there is still the laughter of the demon. The corners of Song Wudao's mouth twitched. Did this thing think so? This face that I thought I was sure of winning was really ugly. However, he smiled, speeding up the collection of the mysterious power in realm in his hand. Well, accompany it for a while, let it cool off for a while, collect enough of these things and use its life as the performance fee. It was such a happy decision. What the hell did you do? Why can't I perceive anything? Song Wudao said in a panicked tone. Then the movements on the hands become faster and faster. Well, I was a blind man and couldn't see anything. Haha, now you know how good I am. Haihuo Venerable's tone was arrogant and proud. Tell you, this trick has the reputation of stealing from the heavens and taking punishment on behalf of the heavens. It's one of the supreme supernatural powers of my heavenly realm. Wait, there are days when you can't survive and die. It made me show my true identity in this small world, and I will never spare you lightly. Black Fire Venerable is showing off. This supernatural power is his most proud inheritance, not only can block anything. You can also evolve spells from the inside, multiplying power. The purple flames it has accumulated in this realm secretly are one of his triumphant tricks. This is its most powerful and the longest preparation time. But here it can be used with confidence. As for being discovered, how could it be possible, even in the heavens, apart from those supreme level cultivation techniques and supreme magical powers, there are few that can destroy this realm. Even if it is possible to break it, it depends on who uses it. Will this blind man be better than himself? Hee, it just wants to laugh. The Black Fire Venerable handprints change rapidly, and there are more and more terrifying magic flames, which have exceeded the number of 700, and are heading towards the 800 pass. Wrong. How can the consumption in realm be so large? As the mysterious substances in realm became less and less, Black Fire Venerable finally realized that something was wrong. As realm's control, it immediately found out the reason. What? That blind man has been collecting the material in realm. In other words, he has been lying to himself. Then I was not only fooled by telling him so much information, but also allowing him to collect it smoothly till now. Collected most of the material in realm. Black Fire Venerable was raging with anger, grievance and resentment filled his chest. My Sao hash at %. I haven't been so aggrieved in my life. I'm going to kill you, little thief. Within realm, Black Fire Venerable's hands suddenly closed together. Rise. Nearly 1,000 purple magic flames gathered from all directions and hit Song Wudao like meteorites, wanting to put him to death. Song Wudao shook his head. He was a fool. Since I knew there was a problem, how could I not be ready to retreat? He stepped out and disappeared in place at the last moment when the purple and black flames gathered. The huge vibration sounded, and the entire realm could hardly bear it. The violent magic flames merged into a sea of fire, almost burning the void through. Ha ha ha, I told you to steal it, let's do it now. If I told you to die, you can't die again. Haihuo Venerable Akimbo, laughing, his face full of joy after success. But suddenly, the expression on his face changed to astonishment, and then froze. Oh, isn't it? Song Wudao's voice appeared. At the same time, his hand was pinched on the opponent's neck. Haihuo Venerable raised his finger, just speechless. In Tianhe sect, the boundless clouds in the sky dissipated, and the sun shone on the earth, revealing the scene of dilapidated mountains and rivers and corpses everywhere. On the ground, the three forces of Tianhe sect, demon sect, and evil are intertwined, and Tianhe sect is under attack from both sides. However, with the participation of the three true monarchs, the situation on the battlefield quickly reversed. The flames of war burn. After a shocking sword light passed, the blood evil sect leader was split into two halves. Then countless sword rays swept out, repeatedly cutting the frightened sect leader into thousands of pieces. He could no longer recover and died completely. This is the hand of Tai Yi, true monarch. Simply neat and sophisticated, but it still took nearly 30 breaths of time to completely wipe out a strong man in the heavenly pass. When the cultivator breaks through to the heavens, after having a drop of blood to rebirth, it sometimes becomes more troublesome. The blood evil sect inheritance is related to blood, and its vitality is extremely strong, and it belongs to the category that is more difficult to kill. At this time, in other places on the battlefield, Jiyu Kaishuan and her realm were facing a powerful person from the 10,000 soul sect, enduring the impact of the power of the soul and attacking each other. Zhou Zi and Wu Elder are facing 3 Dongshuan demons. From time to time, a member of the demons sneak attacks. The other 2 true monarchs. In the beginning, true monarch faced the pinnacle of the heavenly pass, the sect master of the 7 kills gate. Taishi true monarch was dealing with the evil spirits who were constantly following the black fire venerable in the distance, while repairing the great formation. In his hands, the big formation quickly became complete. After a breath, a large array of golden light shone, bypassing the black and gloomy realm high in the sky, and reappeared. This scene, coupled with the participation of 3 true monarchs, greatly boosted the morale of the remaining disciples of the Tianhe sect. Work hard, we will win. Kill these gangsters and avenge the dead brothers. The son of a fool, you swear not to be human if you don't kill them all. Some were disheveled, some were in messy robes, and some were bloodstained. In short, each had its own embarrassment. But the same thing is that their blood-red eyes are already full of sadness and hatred. Someone is killing all around in their sect, their home. How can it not be ruthless? Between life and death, their eyes were firm. Only hard work can save me, the towering Tianhe sect. Kill. Between heaven and earth, the sound of killing, the clash of weapons, the bombardment of spells, and the shouts of people are chaotic. Then the blood flowed into a river, dyeing this pure land of the immortal family red. I don't know how the senior is, God bless, we must win. After solving the blood evil sect leader, Taiyi true monarch raised his head and looked at the black realm in the sky. It was as black as ink, as if everything had been isolated, and it was full of mist, beyond conjecture. Suddenly, on the earth, a strong vibration spread suddenly, the mountain peaks trembling, and the streams and rivers changed course. In the depths of the Tianhe sect, a seam appeared, spreading larger and larger, countless dark shadows of evil spirits rushing out from the inside. Well, the underworld riots have started. The 3 true monarchs looked in the direction of the emergence of the evil spirits, and then quickly exchanged their spiritual thoughts. There was worry in their eyes, and the 3 of them were seriously injured at this time, and their strength was only 3 or 4 layers in the ordinary. Originally, they could barely suppress the 9 nether portal, but now I am afraid there is only one way to death. But they were mentally prepared. One of the most important ideas of the Tianhe sect was to suppress the Juyu exit and promote the righteous way of heaven and earth. What's the fear of being dead? The 3 true monarchs turned into 3 divine lights in the blink of an eye and walked towards the exit of Juyu. Then Tai Yi's true monarch voice came. Tianhe sect disciple, I will wait to suppress the abyss, you continue to fight. Yes, not neatly, but very powerful answers sounded one after another. The fighting continued. Within the black realm, Haihuo Venerable was grabbed by Song Wudao's neck, shocked in his eyes. In this respect, within realm, his abilities will be expanded exponentially, possessing the ability to manipulate everything here. It dared to say that the attack it just made is definitely not something that Diva realm can escape. However, Song Wudao in front of him easily exceeded its scope of cognition. It began to realize that something was wrong. Boom. Black Fire Venerable's body suddenly burst open, and pieces of flesh and blood scattered in all directions. A wave of vitality centered on Song Wudao, spreading, blocking the pieces of flesh and blood. Want to run? Can you run? Song Wudao waved his sleeve. The sky full of sword energy crisscrossed realm, invincible, and quickly formed a sword energy cage, enclosing all the scattered flesh and blood, and then shrunk to more than half a person's height. The Black Fire Venerable yelled in the circular knife cage. Thief, you are too much, it's nothing more than secretly collecting my power. Also kill me. Do you still have benevolence and morality? Song Wudao listened to a demon, just now he attacked and lay ambush again, and said he wanted him to live better than to die. With such a method of thinking, he also talked about benevolence and justice with him. Is he really a pedantic and decent figure? Want to rely on this to get a chance? It's ridiculous. Don't worry, I won't kill you so easily. After I finish interrogating you and get what I want, then it's time for you to die. Song Wudao collected the remaining mysterious substance in this realm, and then said. Immediately, a power of the soul was emitting colorful glaze light, and got into the knife cage, trying to use the method of searching for the soul to torture the Black Fire Venerable. The knife cage vibrated, and Black Fire Venerable looked very angry. Little thief, I just blew myself up, and I won't let you get anything. The silver knife cage buzzed, and the power inside was extremely violent. It opened the knife cage and expanded outwards, almost breaking. Song Wudao had to increase his strength, and the power of the soul in the knife cage escaped long before Black Fire Venerable started. The vitality like the boundless sea is poured on the knife cage, and the rime is as thick as the ancient sacred mountain. In the end, the knife cage only trembled slightly, and there was no movement. Song Wudao opened his eyes. It was two groups of soft golden light that gave people a sense of vastness, and the golden light seemed to contain infinite mysteries. Fortunately, Black Fire Venerable is a demon who can extract power from his eyes. After his gestation, the way the pupils extract their power has become much more relaxed. A huge force suddenly appeared, controlling the dying Black Fire Venerable in the knife cage. Universe Hitomi, you are not a devil. Instead of supporting Yuyu-Jo Hitomi, Universe Pupil, one of the 9 God-tier eyes recognized by the heavens, ranks extremely high. Haihuo Venerable understands that at this time, it is no wonder that Song Wudao can easily defeat himself. However, it was too late, and the vitality of Black Fire Venerable was completely lost. All the power is condensed into a group of extremely thick and majestic Shenhua. Pour into Song Wudao's eyes. Universe Hitomi. Now that the eyes have not been condensed, I don't know if this guy is accurate. Unfortunately, it exploded too decisively. It failed to use the soul search method on it, otherwise it might get something. At the same time, Song Wudao guessed that the reason why this evil demon blew himself up was because he wanted to take the opportunity to escape, otherwise it wouldn't be the case. It's just that I didn't expect that I was so strong that I would make the fakes come true. Song Wudao shook his head and turned his head to realm. Because of the loss of the support of the master, this realm is dispersing, and the operation of Dao Yun's principles becomes clearer at this moment. And Song Wudao's eyes that hadn't closed yet, at the moment his gaze moved to realm. As if seeing something, it surprised him very much. Interesting. In Song Wudao's eyes, the principles and rhymes of the great Tao at this moment in realm's operation are sometimes the same as before, and sometimes become clear and unusual. It's a pity, if this realm dissipates more slowly, you might be able to understand the main part of this magical power. Now, it's hard to say how many benefits can be gained. Looking at the great principles that are rapidly dissipating in realm, I feel a little regretful. After all, this magical power is still very powerful. After a while, realm disappeared, and Song Wudao closed his eyes at the same time. With a deep understanding of the magical powers, I can think about it after returning. Song Wu thought in Dao's heart, and at the same time the power of the soul stretched out. The war on the ground has come to an end, and the Tianhe sect has an absolute advantage. At this time, when everyone saw Song Wudao appear, many people cheered. Saved. We won. This senior killed a demon from the heavens. The Tianhe sect looked excited, while the demon sect still on the battlefield looked ashamed. How come? That's the god from the heavens. We spent thousands of years and countless manpower and material resources were invited down. These people began to feel very regretful and annoyed, and the true god they were looking forward to had disappeared. Whether it's dead or fleeing, doesn't this mean that the one in the sky is even more powerful? They didn't dare to imagine that such a character was still hidden in the Tianhe sect. If they had known this before, then they were planning to attack an ass. Regret not at the beginning. On the other side, many people in Tianhe sect were gradually wondering about Song Wudao's identity. Who is this who saved them Tianhe sect in the water and fire? Is it someone hidden by their Tianhe sect? Unlike these people, Jiyu Kaishuan knew Song Wudao's identity very well, but at this moment she also raised doubts. He really went from Dongshuan ninth stage cultivation to this point in these 600 years. Is this really possible? Among these people, only Zhou Zi is different. At this moment, her beautiful eyes were shining with little stars in the sky, and she worshipped. It turns out that Master is so amazing. Strange, how do you feel that Master has become handsome, even though Master is not bad at first? She shook her head and looked away. No, the opponent in front of you matters. Zhou Zi attacked the already scarred demon sect once again, stabbing a long sword in his hand, with a powerful move that made it hard to resist. Seeing this through the power of the soul, Song Wudao nodded in satisfaction. The overall situation on the ground battlefield has been set, and there is nothing he needs to pay attention to. But, Song Wudao frowned as he felt the frenzy and violent Dao Yun in the depths of Tianhe sect. Follow the cracks in the ground and look in. It is getting more and more secluded and wide, which makes people feel sick and scary. Netherworld, it's getting more and more difficult. Suppressing his keen perception, Song Wudao continued to observe. He must shoot again. If you leave it alone, looking at the current situation, Juyu Gateway will probably fall. As soon as these demons appeared, the Tianhe sect still couldn't keep it. Then his intention to shoot this time was completely in vain. These true monarchs are really fighting each other. On the underground battlefield, near the Gate of Nine Serenities, 5 true monarchs fight together. Even if they were both seriously injured and blood-stained on their clothes, they would not retreat. This will is admirable. It is worthy of the righteous way. Their backbone as a righteous way has not let go. The establishment of sect itself near the entrance of Juyu is a majestic act. Song Wudao raised his arm and stretched out his palm. The Lianbing mountain shook, the rocks fell, and the sky was dusty. Under the surprised and shocking eyes of everyone, 10 knives, in addition to the long knives he forged, including the one given to him by the Saint of Swordsman Senior, flew towards Song Wudao in the sky. The 10 knives are surging and violent, and the whole body is white, like a river that can reach the sky upstream. At the same time, Ji Kaishuan could clearly see the scene where the Sword Saint and long sword appeared. She suddenly opened her eyes wide, and she felt enlightenment. Not only the time I rescued sect, I used to protect my Sword Sage Senior many times before, are you also? In the sky, Song Wudao gently stroked the long knife gifted by the Sword Saint with pity. This knife has accompanied him for nearly 1,000 years. During this time, as his casting methods became more and more superb, the quality of this long knife became better and better. Now it is a complete sacred artifact, giving birth to spirituality. It's just that he, one of the main forgers of this knife, wants to hurt this knife. Thanks for your hard work next. Song Wudao said. The blade of the long sword buzzed, as if saying that it was okay, and it would forgive no matter what it did. The feeling of intimacy is like a child's dependence on his parents and elder brothers. Nothing will resist. But this made Song Wudao more guilty. I will try to control my strength and try not to hurt you. Short of time, Song Wudao immediately drove a mysterious substance obtained from the hands of Black Fire Venerable into 10 long knives. After a burst of exceptionally brilliant brilliance, they merged briefly, exposing the Lord's earth-shaking aura. It didn't move a bit, but it seemed to pierce the earth and split the sky. This is what he thought of, the only way to temporarily solve this riot in the underworld. It is also the only way to avoid suffering for the common people. At present, Song Wudao didn't have a knife capable of exerting his full strength in his hands. In the fusion just now, Song Wudao used the newly acquired mysterious substance, and then temporarily turned 10 knives into one, which was enough for him to use. The reason why he chose the knife he used as the carrier is because the other 9 Dao Yun breaths are connected. If he uses all his strength, it will make this cast tool fall short, wasting his nearly 600 years of effort, and many of the heavenly and mortal treasures that have been cast in it. So you can only choose this way, but it comes at a price. In the light of this, the long knife fell into a deep sleep for a while, and in the worst, the long knife suffered a great loss of intelligence. There is no alternative to this, and the two evils are the lesser of power. For the sake of the world, this can only be done for the time being. Song Wudao picked up the long knife that had just been melted together. This long knife was sharp and very unstable, but it made a faint white mark on his hand just by clenching it tightly. He increased his control and incorporated the vibration of the long knife into his own rhythm. At the moment of success, the world was surging like wind and thunder, and there was a huge trembling sound, which spread thousands of miles away, and shook people's eardrums. It was the sound of Song Wudao's heart beating dirty. He suddenly became extremely stalwart, like the incarnation of a certain avenue in the heavens and the earth, and the strong rhyme of the Taoism made the people on the ground almost suffocating. That coercive force made Song Wudao a normal size, but at this time it was as huge as a giant that opened up the world. 9 heavens. His voice rang like a rumbling drum. The cultivator whose realm is too low starts to faint. The most primitive wind between heaven and earth rose, as if to indicate something. The world scene began to become chaotic. Thunder. The boundless thunder light appeared in the world, and the road roared. The majestic and vast, endless thunderbolt and thunder traversed the sky, suppressing the entrances of Juyu everywhere in the world. What? A swiftly surprised voice was exhaled, but it quickly disappeared. This scene made them lose their voices collectively. In a short moment, the sky in the eyes of everyone in Tianhe sect turned blue. The sky seems to be composed of thunder, vast and endless, boundless. They will never forget the magnificent sight of the thunderstorm trying to take the place of the blue sky. The depths of Tianhe sect. At this time, the 5 true monarchs are fighting, and countless demons have emerged from them, endless, and many of them have the cultivation base. The 5 true monarchs form a formation, and their breaths are connected to each other, but their bodies exploded again and again by the impact of this torrent. Under the superb cultivation base, they recovered physically, and then hurriedly vomited various medicine pills, such as cow chewing peony, just to recover faster. In their hands, all kinds of tactics, imperial swordsmanship, and Taoism. What they have learned throughout their lives can be used unreservedly at this moment. Forgetting sleep and food, giving up life and forgetting death. However, there is still no way to prevent all demons from leaving here. The attraction of the outside world is too great. The world is like a huge plate of delicacies, enough for all the evil spirits to eat. Can we really stop this catastrophe? The huge doubts in the hearts of the 5 people kept hitting their hearts. Step by step, as if to slowly disintegrate the will of several people. At this moment, the time seems to be very long, and it seems to be very slow. They are physically and mentally numb, and their bodies are stiff and persistent, like walking corpses. I don't know whether the heart will collapse first, or the body will die first. At this time, the roar of thunder between heaven and earth suddenly awakened the gradually numb hearts of several people. However, a scene that shocked several people even more happened before their eyes. I don't know where, far away, a vast river of thunder waterfalls are surging. Unmatched, unstoppable. No matter what kind of evil demon is in front of it, it will be wiped out in an instant. Nothing can be left. This is, what's the matter? The 5 true monarchs were completely stunned, watching this incredible scene. They opened their mouths wide, not knowing what to say. Too exaggerated, too terrible, and too great. At this moment of crisis. It is beyond their knowledge. The feeling in their hearts is indescribable. In addition to shock. After a while, looking at the emptied entrance of Juyu, they were still wooden and did not slow down. What should we do now? True monarch asked stupidly at the beginning. Fix the formation and go back. Tai Yi said. Oh. The 5 moved into action. At the same time, it was 90,000 miles away from Tianhe sect, the site of Ziyang sect. In the old days, the mountains and mists were misty, and the land of the fairy family was filled with mysterious light. At this time, he was stained red with blood. Stumps and broken arms can be seen everywhere, and corpses are everywhere. Not long ago, the cracks in the 9 Netherlands leading to the underworld also suddenly opened, and countless demons raged out. The 2 true monarchs of Ziyang sect have already fought one for this. But this is not over yet. Watching these disciples die one by one in the fight, the remaining 3 sect ancestors couldn't help but stare blankly. It seems to be a few hundred years old. The Great Tribulation, the Great Tribulation. The glory of my Ziyang sect for thousands of years has ended. Suddenly, it was the time when the demons were dancing. A flash of thunder fell suddenly, and the evil spirits were swept away. The ancestor of Xiangzong was stunned, and then ecstatic. Miracles, miracles. Thank God for keeping my sect complete. After calming down for a moment, his gaze turned to the direction of Tianhe sect. This river of falling thunder came from there. What is the Tianhe sect? Between heaven and earth, there are also 3 remaining sects. Feixianjian Pavilion, Northern Dipper Gate and Tianxin Tower. The situation encountered is almost the same as that of Ziyang sect. The true monarchs who were still alive, after being shocked, looked at the direction of the Tianhe sect. At this time, the Tianhe sect's request for help flew tens of thousands of miles across the country. After seeing the message, they were puzzled. Tianhezong did suppress the 9 nether entrance, which is the largest between heaven and earth, and that's right. But this is a cry for help and a god thunder. What happened in Tianhezong made people feel even more strange. At this time, in the Tianhe sect, over the battlefield, Song Wudao put down the long sword in his hand. The long knife floats naturally, the blade body is flowing and trembling constantly, and the wind and clouds that are born with thunder between the sky and the earth are smashed. Om. After the intense light, the 10 long knives reappeared. Song Wudao had spent the longest time with him, and it was also the one that carried the other long swords. He checked carefully, repeatedly and meticulously. Finally, he breathed a sigh of relief. Call. Fortunately, although spirituality is very weak, it is not damaged. As long as you sleep and cultivate for a period of time, you can recover. Realizing the situation of the long sword, he said. He treats this knife like an old friend. The sentiment in the words is obvious. Then Song Wudao looked in all directions where the thunder falling between heaven and earth disappeared, showing a satisfied smile. The reason why he used the 9 heavens thunder falling technique is because this technique is not only very powerful, but also has a very strong effect on demons. Now it seems that the effect is not bad, and all the entrances of the 9 nethers between heaven and earth are calmed down. Then, he nodded in Zhou Ziyi's direction, and after a sound transmission, he left peacefully. Beyond the endless chaos and mist, unknown places. Next to a lake surrounded by fairy mist, a young man was taking a nap, his head pecking rice at the chicken, knocking down from time to time. And in the lake, there seemed to be countless stars' reflections, bright and beautiful. But if you look closely, a person with a clever vision will find it easily. This is how many stars. That is clearly a minor world. This lake is also a fairy house magical item. The fairy mist curled up, rising and falling, and the boy's movements remained the same. Suddenly, among the countless minor world reflections, a dazzling light radiated from one of them, awakening the sleeping teenager. Who and who? Xiaonian stood up abruptly, then looked at the turbulent lake, complaining all over his face. Someone has broken through the limit of man and sky. Who is that? Wake me to sleep. This will report you according to the rules. After speaking, the boy turned and left, while the scene of the lake stagnated. In a short while, a young man in mysterious armor came over, then nodded and said, "Yes, there are indeed people who have exceeded the limit of man and sky stipulated by the heavens. The cultivation base is enough, but it does not soar. This person will inevitably be tortured." Having said that, he left and reported to the person in charge of the matter. After the youth left, the youth began to mutter to himself. Under the Eastern Heaven realm, do you dare to violate the regulations? Really looking for death. At this time, in the Tianhe sect, after a period of time after the figure of Song Wudao disappeared, the 5 true monarchs came to the ground again. Here, where is the person? Tai Yi true monarch looked at the devastated scene before him, and found that there was no one. Very dumbfounded. What about the senior who is fighting? What about the evil demon from the heavens? There are so many sect disciples and elder, even sect leader, where have they gone? In this battle, whether you win or lose, why lose your sect head? Tianhe sect, the battlefield. Called by the 5 true monarchs of sect, the sect seniors who led the remaining doormen to the Dan Pavilion for healing returned to this place again. As soon as I met the true monarchs, the big elder immediately reported. True monarch, we won. The senior completely defeated the demon of the heavens in just 1 stick of incense. The big senior saved my Tianhe sect. Tu Yi true monarch looked shocked. The senior was trapped in the opponent's realm at the time and obviously had a huge disadvantage. This senior actually won. Then he asked, "Where is that senior?" At this time, Zhou Zi stood out from the crowd and said, My master has returned to the fortification mountain." "What? Your master? You said that is your master." "That senior is also from my Tianhe sect. But why do I think about everyone, the memory does not have the figure of this senior." Zhou Ziyi was shocked by a word, and everyone was in an uproar, looking at her. The mysterious senior who shot at the critical moment was actually Zhou Elder's master, but why sect never knew. Ji Yu Kaixuan's eyes flickered. This guy has been a disciple for hundreds of years. Yes, Zhou Ziyi nodded in embarrassment. After all, she had concealed everyone for a long time before, but that was because she felt that the master needed it, so she did so. Now that the master has taken the initiative to show up, then she said nothing. He is indeed my master. It is indeed from the Tianhe sect. Master, he usually lives in the fortification mountain, and now he has gone back to cast his sword. Zhou Ziyi said. Cast knife. Tai Su True Monarch was surprised. He was a knife practicer. At this time, he heard that this senior was related to knives, which naturally aroused interest. Yes, master, in addition to his very strong combat power, he is also a grand great master, who can forge sacred artifacts. And in the past few hundred years, the master has been casting knives. Zhou Ziyi explained. It turned out to be so. Tai Yi True Monarch said, his face was clear. Hundreds of years ago, the people in the door reported to him that in the refining contest, the Tianguan powerhouse and refining tool grand great master of the Tianhe sect appeared. It turned out to be this one. Now it seems that whereas this heavenly pass, True Monarch is estimated to be unable to stop it, it must be Diva. And Diva, that's a super strong one who is only one step away from detachment. But immediately he was very puzzled. For example, today's environment is long gone, and the concentration of vitality is greatly attenuated. Such a strong man should have left long ago, how could he stay here? In order to clarify the matter, he specifically asked people to talk about the process just now. After listening, the 5 True Monarch immediately looked shocked and asked eagerly. Zhujiaxian, that mighty thunder is also senior's handwriting. How powerful is this senior? Only soon, they realized something was wrong. According to Elder's description in the door, the Thunder Waterfall River entering the Tianhe sect is only the main one. And senior has a lot of power to go everywhere in the world. Calculated like this, even in a general diva environment, it can't be done without paying a huge price. Think of this person walking in such a hurry. Could it be that this one is injured? The 5 True Monarchs looked at each other, and their guesses were very similar in the exchange of spirits. It seems that when you visit later, you should prepare your gifts. This senior who almost never shows up on weekdays, did such a big thing after showing up. Definitely worthy of serious treatment. I don't know if this senior has time recently. I want to pay a visit later. 5 True Monarchs said to Zhou Ziyi. Zhou Ziyi's face is respectful and flattered. After all, the other party is a figure in the legend of sect, and is more than a big realm higher than her. But then she calmed down, and they wanted to visit the own master. I didn't feel anything in front of someone as powerful as the master. What was shocking in front of a few true monarchs? Zhou Ziyi quickly became proud. With such a master, it is hard not to be proud. The 5 True Monarchs had a panoramic view of Zhou Ziyi's subtle expressions. They had been alive for 10,000 years, and they were very old, and soon understood her general mental activities. I thought to myself that this little girl was strangely cute, coupled with Zhou Ziyi's superb talent. No wonder the senior will accept her as a disciple. Master, he should have time. Zhou Ziyi answered the questions of the 5 True Monarchs just now. Because my master said when he left. She turned her face to Ji Yu Kaixuan. Sect leader, my master said, the two of us have not seen each other for 600 years. If you want to see her, just go to him these few days. Zhou Ziyi is a little strange. She has never heard of master's friends, especially this famous sect leader in sect. Actually, I just wanted to talk to you, but because I haven't found a suitable opportunity, I have to say it now. Please forgive me, she said. With a swipe, everyone looked at Ji Yu Kaixuan. This senior is also related to sect leader. The senior is also interesting, and both have connections with sect. They don't think this senior has any desire for beauty. With the senior's ability, no one can get it. Even if it is really related, it is the two amazing blessings of sect. Ji Yu Kaixuan shook her head flatly, saying that she didn't mind talking about it in the public. Kai-zan, what is your relationship with this senior? Taishi True Monarch asked. Over the years, in order to allow her to fully assume the responsibility of the sect leader faster. They also taught her cultivation. So it's no stranger. Yes, true monarch, Gu Kaishuan said. I and Song Wudao are friends. Actually, according to my guess. In the crowd, Gu Kaishuan's narration sounded slowly. She told several accidents over the years. That is to say, in these years, Song Sr. has saved the Tianhe sect more than once. Gu Kaishuan nodded. Everyone was amazed that this senior had a kind of guardianship to everyone in the same sect. Good virtues make people look up to the mountains. At this moment, Elder, who was guarding the formation, hurried in. True monarch, sect leader, ancestors. Several other superpowers from the outside world. Ziyang School, Feixian Sword Pavilion, Northern Dipper Gate, Tianxin Tower. They're here again. Elder looked stunned for a moment and went to the Three Treasures Palace. This time the Tianhe sect suffered such a big loss, and his strength was already very weak. Reminiscent of the intimidating behavior of several super product sects more than 600 years ago, it is difficult to make people think that they came here this time. There is nothing tricky. Gu Kaishuan frowned. Even though sect was weak, true monarch was still present, not to mention Song Wudao's support. If they really have any thoughts, they might as well give it a try. Immediately, she said loudly, "Welcome, welcome." After Gu Kaishuan's voice sounded for a while, important figures from several major forces walked in, including true monarch. When these people passed the battlefield and saw a large number of corpses lying in the mountains, there was no unexpected look on their faces. The Tianhe sect who saw this scene looked unhappy. They had asked for rescue, but it has been so long since the war ended. Are you going to take advantage of the fire? Everyone, I wonder what do you have to do this time? Gu Kaishuan walked out in public and said, she is the sect leader. She is managing sect in name. When enjoying sect's resources, she also needs her to come forward when there are affairs. Gu Kaishuan's voice was cold, her heart guarded. Are you here to assist the Tianhe sect, or complete your career 600 years ago? The important figures of each sect were embarrassed and looked a little evasive. More than 600 years ago, 5 super-grade sects came to threaten the Tianhe sect and attacked it under the pretext of handing over the Witcher Qi Yan. As a result, he was defeated by an unknown master of the Tianhe sect. The heavenly pass powerhouses dispatched by various sects have also become dead souls in the earth. Among the 5 houses that were besieged that year, they included the 4 sects present today. It's just that sects' losses are huge now, and the situation is unknown. How can they dare to go to war again? The 5 true monarchs of the Tianhe sect are still on the scene today. How come? Everyone of Tianhe sect attacks are already common. The previous grievances have all passed, so I won't talk about it for now. We are here this time only because we have also suffered the impact of the underworld riots. Sect was at risk for a while. If it weren't for the vast thunder of the sky, we would really have to give almost everything to stop this change. And we see that this thunder is coming from the direction of Tianhe sect, so everyone will come here to ask. You know, where did this thunder come from? A surviving true monarch in Tianxin Tower stood up and said. His gaze swept across Gu Kaishuan's body, flashing a look of surprise. As far as he knows, this sect leader of the Tianhe sect has only been in cultivation for 1,000 years. At such an age, even if he has used the secret method ascension, he can be regarded as a surprise. Out of the corner of his eye, he noticed Zhou Zi. The same breath as young, cultivation base is not shallow. It seems that Tianhe sect is not worried about the embarrassing situation of no one to succeed. The 5 true monarchs noticed that true monarch in Tianxin Tower was looking at himself and others, but they did not rush to explain. At the same time, Tai Yi true monarch's heart was true, and the divine thunders that had dispersed were going to the other 9 nether entrances. Then he spoke. The source of the thunder in the sky, we naturally know. You can guess, whether this thunder was sent out by a person, or was it descended from heaven. Speaking of this, even his true monarch couldn't help but feel complacent. To save the world from fire and water, to turn the mansions will fall, but it is the senior of his Tianhe sect. Let me tell you, actually, this divine thunder was slashed out by a reclusive senior of my Tianhe sect. The people of the 4 major sects were shocked and unbelievable. Such panic and thunder, like the mighty sky, under a single strike, will sweep away the evil demons in the world and make the whole world level up. Is it really something ordinary people can do? This method is probably not available to Diva realm. But since the Gentian ancestor sword, 7,000 years have passed, the concentration of heaven and earth vitality has gradually decreased. How could there be strong people in the Diva realm who will stay here? Do not believe. He saw the hesitant look in the eyes of several big sect people, and it was too easy to true monarch. You can understand the rhyme of Taoism in the thunder, not just with thunder, but also others. He instructed the 4 sects to come. The 4 sects are not weak hands, so they naturally understand the meaning of true monarch's words. They stretched out divine sense and began to realize it. For an instant, they felt the panic like thunder as if it were coming again. Boundless, it seems to cover the whole world. Violent and strong. But by the way, in this illusory world that thunder surrounds Shanghai. Facing a distant figure in Xingyi, she was as meek as a sheep, snuggling quietly. The masters of the sects were still shocked when they saw such a scene from Daoyun, even if they had seen it before for the purpose of investigation. After a quick glance, they sighed, looking for other Daoyun auras left in thunder. Suddenly, they saw another thing in the thunder on this day. Their eyes widened and the color was bright red. Knife. Knives everywhere, shining knife. If the avenue runs across the sky, it cannot be guessed. Like the other side of the common people, it is so far away that you can't see it. Whenever the sword's energy is vertical and horizontal, it shakes down 70,000 miles of star mountains and rivers. Whenever the sword light shines, it illuminates beyond the boundless chaos. The blades of those knives are sharp, and when you see them, you feel cold all over, like falling into an ice cave, as if you are experiencing a death, which makes people fearful. Puff. Among the 4 sects present, some people spewed blood one after another. Their souls were damaged and their injuries worsened. This Daoyun was too terrifying. Even though Realm had the lowest 9th stage among them, they were still injured because of it. The 4 masters who came from sect looked pale and sweated. They nodded. This time we believe it, we really believe it. This Daoyun is very similar to your sword sage, it can only be the senior of Tianhe sect. They were amazed that there was this senior sitting in town, the name of the first sect of the Tianhe sect, and he was stable. Knowing the origin of the god Thunder, the 4 sects looked solemn. Immediately, he bowed deeply towards the Lianbing mountain pointed by the Tianhe sect. Senior has returned to the mountain, this time I have no chance to meet Senior. But Senior saved us 4 cases in times of crisis. If the Senior wants something in the future. My Tianxin Tower. Northern Dipper Gate. Xiangzong. Feixian Sword Pavilion. We will definitely help, said the 4 sect people. They who had seen Tianhe's true heritage were deeply shocked by it. Just 5 true monarchs can crush any of their sects. What's more, the Senior is still in charge. The first case in the world is Tianhe. After all, the 4 super product sect retreated one after another. After that, the 5 true monarchs of the 5 Tianhe sect discussed with Zhou Zi and Ji Yu Kaishuan. 5 days later, when everyone had a little self-cultivation, they set off to meet the Senior who saved the world. And time is hurried, 5 days passed by in a flash. When approaching departure, Tianhe sect was in an ancient cave. Here, jade symbols, ancient slips, and dark yellow silk can be seen everywhere. Quietly placed on the bookshelf. On the side, there was a Taoist with loose hair, looking quietly. Suddenly, true monarch, who has been frowning here for 5 days, stretched out. Give a satisfied smile. Ha ha, I finally know who the Senior is. This voice instantly alarmed several other true monarchs not far away. The eyes were scorching, and they all looked. Who is this Senior? Brother Tai, what is the status of Senior? Tai Su true monarch asked curiously. As he practiced swordsmanship, he was familiar with all those who were proficient in swordsmanship used in the history of the Tianhe sect. All the Tianguan realms recorded by the Tianhe sect are also recorded. However, he never found anyone similar to this Senior anywhere. Don't worry, let me buy a pass first. Tai true monarch said. Do you know, what is a realm immortal? Zhujiaxian. The 4 true monarchs shook their heads. They know many secrets, but they have never heard of the name Zhujiaxian. So Tai Yi true monarch began to explain. Zhujiaxian takes the meaning of living in one world forever. You should know that in our era, The world is full of vitality, and there are many people in realm who are the same as or even higher than us. And if Ming-Tu gets closer to our heaven and earth, the entrance of Juyu will get bigger and bigger. It has caused extremely serious damage to our world, and can't carry those masters. Those people won't be detached from it. Taishi True Monarch's eyes moved slightly, as if recalling something. Yes, the more time passes, the less chance of entering the Diva realm. In the past few thousand years, Genshin, a kid with great talent, coupled with repeated adventures, has gone beyond this realm. After fighting this, I don't know how many people will be able to transcend. Everyone's eyes were deep. Although their realm is not low, they have been in True Monarch for many years. But this realm is quite difficult, plus they have to guard the entrance of Juyu in the follow-up, which makes it difficult to cultivate. The progress must be very slow. Moreover, there is a layer called the Seal of Heaven and Earth from True Monarch to the Heaven. So most of them are destined to be unable to escape. The four looked at Tai Yi True Monarch. It is a pity that Tai Yi had a ray of hope left before the road to detachment from heaven and earth was completely cut off. Only after this battle, the foundation of Tai Yi was seriously damaged. Now this ray of hope is infinitely close to nothing. Don't worry, said four people who are too easy to read. Life and death are destiny, wealth is in heaven, I can't be detached, there is nothing to regret. Tai Yi is very open-minded. But Tai Su True Monarch was unwilling for him. He is very persistent in the matter of cultivating the Tao. It's nothing, there is more than me who have the qualifications for transcendence in this world. Kai-zan is now much stronger than I was in the past. I think that little guy named Zhou Zi is also. These talented and peerless disciples of the Tianhe sect may be sealed off. They should be more pitiful than my old bone. What can I say? So there is a kung fu, let's think more about sect. Tai Yi said. The others nodded, which made sense. Okay, let's go back to Zhujiaxian. The so-called resident immortals were mostly born in the era before us. At that time, major practitioners appeared in large numbers, and the strong emerged one after another. At that time, there were a group of people who survived the robbery and did not die. Although their foundations were completely abolished, they found another way to practice. That is a way to rebuild the foundation and cultivate again by taking advantage of the robbery. However, since this method seems to be incomplete by nature, people who walk this path have always been unable to detach themselves from it. Therefore, these people are also called the immortals. But later, due to the increased punishment of heaven and earth, no one can survive the failure of transcends tribulation, so this method and cultivation gradually disappeared. The four of them showed a suddenly enlightened look, but they quickly became confused. But what does this have to do with Senior? Tai Su said. Of course it matters. Tai Yi replied. When Senior fought against the demon of heaven, the demon once revealed the identity of Senior's residence immortal. So starting from this aspect, it will naturally be easier to know the identity of the Senior. And that's why I got information about Senior. Speaking of which, the eyes of the four Tao monarchs were obviously brighter. What is it, brother? Hurry up, they urged. They have taken over sect for thousands of years, but they have not been able to find any trace of the Senior's existence. It's also amazing. Okay, the identity of this Senior is also related to my master. The four true monarchs held their breath and listened quietly. The five of them came from different eras. They were just like brothers because they were in the same realm, and almost all of the old people around them died of exhaustion. The master of Tai Yi is the person who founded the Tianhe school, the patriarch of Hanhai. At this time, Tai Yi continued. Back then, my master used to have a good friend named Jinshan Zhenren, who had a very private relationship with my master. However, afterwards, my master super detached, and this real person from Mount Forge was nowhere to be found. But in my memory, the master once said that this person has failed transcends tribulation and is trying another practice. Now it seems that this Senior is trying to live in the immortal road, and he has made some achievements on this very difficult road, so he can help me and so on today. Is this Senior? True Monarch asked. It can't be wrong. Tu Yi said affirmatively. Although I was not fortunate enough to meet this person, I still know a lot about this person. This person likes refining tools, and he has made great achievements in refining tools. Before the foundation was broken, the major was also the knife path. Tai Su still feels something is wrong. But, what's the matter with this person's eyes? The immortal method of residence was originally made by the cultivation of thunder, and it is nothing to be good at thunder. But what about the eyes? As for the eyes, it should be the evil demon from the heavens that has seen it wrong. Senior should not be a natural disabled person, but an injury caused by being chopped by thunder and thunder. Under the thunder, the injury is difficult to repair, it's normal. Tai Yi looked at the others and said, and the four nodded in approval. Soon they lamented. This senior, in order to use such a powerful thunder, I am afraid that he has tried his best. Today's environment is much worse than before, with senior realm. There is also the characteristic that the immortals in the world are naturally slow to absorb and retain vitality. This shot, I'm afraid it took senior's vitality that senior did not know how many years they had accumulated. The foundation of the slow repair may be broken again. Everyone was silent. The powerful and wide-ranging thunder that swept the world this time was rare in ancient times. To say that the senior did not pay a big price this time, they would never believe it. The road of living in the world is not as good as the road of authentic cultivation. Such a senior is really respectable and admirable. This time, we should take out something to repay the senior. Someone suggested. But soon they frowned. Meditation. Senior has lived for such a long time and is good at refining tools. There should be nothing missing. How can they come up with treasures that satisfy and even surprise seniors? After pondering for a while, Tai Yi, true monarch, suddenly clasped his hands together. Yes, then he took out something that surprised the other four true monarchs. Brother, why did you take this thing out? Taishi, true monarch, said anxiously. In front of me, a gentle cyan jade floats naturally in the air. A golden rune in the jade exudes a soft brilliance. The treasure of merit, flying jade. Brother, your foundation is seriously damaged this time. Can you make up for this loss in the future, enter the diva realm, or even detach yourself? You can count on it. Yes, brother Tai, you have to think about this. It's better to change one. The other true monarch said. Tu Yi shook his head, his expression resolute. Senior has great kindness to my Tianhe sect, and it is a life-saving kindness to us. In addition to this treasure, I will also give the seal of the sacred artifacts of Falongding to the senior. As a grand great master, senior is a refining tool, so there is definitely no shortage of sacred tools. In my Tianhe sect, besides these two things, how can there be other things that are useful to senior? The four true monarchs fell silent, and that was indeed the case. At this time, Tai Yi, true monarch, continued. What's more, senior has already paid a huge sacrifice to save the world. How can we let senior suffer this suffering alone? When the four of them heard Tai Yi's persuasion, their expressions were tangled for a moment, and then they showed a daze. Brother Tai Yi is right. Before we were narrow-minded. Senior can do everything possible to save us, how can we let senior be wronged? At the same time, outside the cave, Zhou Zi and Ji Yu Kaishuan arrived one after another. It's time to visit senior. At Refining Soldier Mountain, Song Wudao's soul power enveloped the cold pool at this time. At the bottom of the pool, 9 long knives are erected, the breath is blended, Taoism is intertwined, and there is a trend of gradual unity. It's worthy of the evil demon from the heavens, and the mysterious substance snatched from it has such a powerful effect. Song Wudao sighed with emotion in his heart, having the joy of having a great deal. Originally, it would take at least 500 years for these 9 sword soldiers to be completely bred into shape and melted into one. In Song Wudao's eyes, this has been a long time. It is equivalent to half of his current monastic career. But only from the perspective of conceiving a weapon that is beyond the sacred weapon, this is already very short. I think Falongding grew from the sacred implement to the peak of the sacred implement, only one step away from the breakthrough sacred implement, but it took thousands of years to go up. Although there is also the reason why Falongding spends most of the time on hosting the formation. But this can still explain the difficulty of what Song Wudao is doing now. But it's all right now. With the unknown substances snatched from the demons, this time has been greatly shortened. 1 month, or just the last few days, it's almost done. Since Song Wudao had never seen this material, he could not accurately predict this time. But this still made Song Wudao smile, and a rare sense of anticipation rose in his heart. From casting this divine armament to the present, it took Song Wudao a full 500 years. I really hope that this day will come soon, Song Wudao thought in his heart. Then his palm turned over, and a silk book full of mysterious runes and unpredictable atmosphere appeared in his hand. He got serious insight. This silk book was found in the storage ring of the evil demon. The evil spirit's storage ring seemed to be of very high level, and it was not destroyed in Song Wudao's sword aura. Moreover, even the demons who were the masters failed to destroy them in time. That's why he got this jade talisman that records magical powers. Hanzu's primitive method, the supernatural powers of the heavens, really profound. Song Wudao insight for a moment, suddenly very emotional. This silk book records the realm-like methods used by demons when they confront their enemies. Really can be called the mysterious and extraordinary. Even it is difficult for him to complete insight in a short period of time. Suddenly, his ears moved slightly, as if perceiving something. Is Ji Kaixuan here? She seems to be carrying sect's 5 true monarchs. Shaking his head, it seems inevitable to be explored. This can be explained to them, that is to say, it is a little troublesome. Song Wudao's figure disappeared in a flash, and he came to the quiet room where he was meditating. This is where he meets Zhou Zi on weekdays. And I feel that Zhou Zi's meaning is to attract people to this place. Then let her do it. On the other side, Zhou Zi, Ji Kaixuan and the 5 true monarch powerhouses of Tianhe sect flew slowly towards Lianbing Mountain. Speaking of it, we haven't come to refining Soldier Mountain for a long time. Seeing things and thinking about people, the sword sage was so talented that he unexpectedly fell at the entrance of Juyu. No guilt, no regrets, this is impossible for several true monarchs. Speaking of which, even a cultivator can hardly see it for a long time. I don't know how long this senior can exist, and how long will keep this world safe. Clouds and mists are misty, and mountains and rivers are on top of each other. Affected by the war, the landscape on this road has been constantly changing from dilapidated to complete. Finally, the senior residences that the 5 true monarch dreamed of arrived. Several people landed from an open mountain field, and then walked along the Yukao path. Except Zhou Zi, several people are feeling the changes in the scenery here. During the hundreds of years when Zhou Zi was accepted as a disciple, Song Wudao had already placed a formation here. It is also because of the formation. Before the heat wave here, the scene of lava can be seen occasionally, which has slowly changed over the years. Green mountains and green waters, strange peaks and different springs, bloom like flowers here. But through formation, they can faintly feel that the flame used for forging here has not disappeared. On the contrary, it is more vigorous. It's like the lava contained in this place is gathered and tempered repeatedly, leaving only the essence. However, they were even more surprised to find that this large formation was using lava to quench the remaining residue, enriching the nutrients contained in the earth. Sage lives in Yan, and everything is born, all things are born, and the world is beautiful. For the big formation laid down by Senior, several true monarchs can only find this old saying to describe it. Senior is really a great Taoist. Tai Yi true monarch suddenly said, as if he had a lot of understanding. At this time the other 4 true monarchs also nodded. This sentence is too right. Ji Kaixuan was a little confused. Song Wudao looked normal before. Is it really great? Zhou Zi on the side agrees very much. Sure enough, true monarch is true monarch. I can see the essence of the master at a glance, a great Taoist whose brilliance will always lead me forward. Although she is a little too stalking for herself, she hasn't seen a few sides for decades, she quietly complained. Okay, true monarch, let's go first and see my master. Several people nodded their heads and walked forward again. The path was somewhat tortuous, and it was necessary to pass the place where Zhou Zi was resting first. At this moment, they saw the utensils in Zhou Zi's house and suddenly stopped again. Are these all made by Senior? Zhou Zi nodded and looked at them strangely. What's wrong? It turned out to be so. Tai Yi said. Yeah, Tai Yi, she continued. Taoist, Pu Yi, sage is nameless, never arrogant, proud of his ability. Senior, there are many more things worth learning. Ji Kaixuan's eyes were dumbfounded, and she scratched her hair. Is this really Song Wudao? How different from my impression. In fact, Ji Kaixuan can understand what the true monarch said just now. It is nothing more than to say that people who have won the main thrust of the great Tao will often be safe and simple. Just like a cultivator who can be called a saint, he will have noble morals and do not ask for much fame. But how could this be connected with Song Wudao? I just met. Ji Yu Kaixuan turned her head and looked. She was about to be blinded by the quasi-sacred artifacts and sacred artifacts in Zhou Ziyi's room. What is that? Ji Yu Kaixuan is unable to spit out. No one uses a quasi-sacred instrument as a broom. It's crazy. You know, the quasi-holy artifacts and holy artifacts she has seen in her life are not as many as in Zhou Ziyi's room. Suddenly she somewhat understood what true monarch said, Taoist Pu Yi. With so many sacred artifacts and quasi-sacred artifacts, the outside world didn't know anything about it, and even the vision at the time of birth had not seen a shadow. Isn't it simple? If this is not plain, there will be no plainness in this world. Think about it, Song Wudao is really good enough. Gradually, Ji Yu Kaixuan couldn't connect the person she was about to meet with the one she had in mind. Well, everyone, true monarch, what's wrong with you? Zhou Ziyi asked with a pair of big eyes flashing. Aren't these things very common? She asked inexplicably, her expression not pretending. In fact, because she does not lack high-quality magic treasures to use, she never went to sect's place of hidden soldiers to take a closer look. So is there something wrong with the things in her room? No problem. Very common. This sentence will be too easy for true monarch to do. Did he hear it wrong, or did he understand it wrong? The sacred artifacts and quasi-sacred artifacts that still exist in the Tianhe sect have not exceeded the number of 15. But you take a look at Zhou Ziyi's room. The wooden bowl of the quasi-sacred utensil, the chopsticks of the quasi-sacred utensil, the chair of the quasi-sacred utensil, the table of the sacred utensil, and the wardrobe, no less than 20 pieces. It's not like that, and it's sad to say it. As the refining device Grand Great Master and refining device Great Master, ability means willfulness. The refining device Grand Great Master is naturally Song Wudao, while the refining device Great Master is Zhou Ziyi. When Zhou Ziyi's realm was still very low, he was able to forge a quasi-sacred longsword embryo by relying on great hard work. Now that hundreds of years have passed, it is inevitable for her to become the Great Master of the refiner, who is rare in the world. Ah, is it weird? Zhou Ziyi saw a few people change their expression slightly. No, Tai Su True Monarch replied. He didn't want to lose his face in front of Junior because of this. Although Zhou Ziyi's disciple, the other True Monarch nodded, thinking similarly. In front of the juniors, there must be a compelling standard. After a few more glances, they moved forward again, and then they couldn't hold on to their shelves this time. They exclaimed, "What is that?" In front of the seven, a few tall, dark and deep stone stels rose like a mountain, exuding a mysterious and subtle Taoist rhyme. Sensing carefully, as if seeing another piece of heaven and earth. At this moment, he felt the avenue of their respective cultivation began to vibrate. Countless prosperous principles of the great Tao appeared before the eyes of a few people, dazzling, gorgeously intertwined, and the roads and roads appeared in a trance. They stopped, not moving forward. A mysterious aura came forth on his body, like spring facing the mountains and the sea, with the wind blowing, full of vitality. Even Ji Yu Kaixuan did the same. Zhou Ziyi stopped in place. This is an epiphany. Is it a stele? Is this stone monument so powerful? She was a little puzzled. The mystery of this stone stele was somewhat beyond her expectations. She has lived here all year round and has long been accustomed to the existence of this stone monument. And this stone tablet has been difficult to give her too much insight. After a long while, Tai Yi True Monarch's body was full of rhyme and fluctuating. Then he suddenly relaxed his muscles, exhaling a long breath, penetrating the rock. Seniors rode, looking up to the high, looking deep, suddenly in front, suddenly in the back, it is difficult to figure out. It's elusive. Tai Yi True Monarch looked up at the sky and sighed. At this time, it seemed that there was only him and Dadao between heaven and earth. The senior is aloof, like the way is like the sky, like everything in the world. In the vast world, only he can understand the depth and stalwart of senior. Suddenly, a sense of loneliness was born. This time the epiphany not only made most of his injuries healed, but also deepened his understanding of Dao Lot, giving him a glimmer of life on the way to Diva. This gain is hardly less than a piece of flying jade. After True Monarch sighed, Zhou Ziyi asked his own doubts. Why are you indifferent to this stone tablet? Tai Yi True Monarch glanced at Zhou Ziyi. It was a blessing to be this apprentice. If it weren't for him, what he cultivated was not the Tao of the sword. He might be cheeky and ask a senior for the name of a disciple. The reason why you have no feelings is that one is because you have not accumulated enough, and the other is that you watch this stone tablet too many times. This has led to the fact that the part of your insight has been exhausted, so this is the case. Zhou Ziyi suddenly realized that she had indeed watched the steel too many times. Even the steel was the main teaching role for her along the way. That said, it's no wonder. After they finished speaking, the other four True Monarch and Jiyu Kaishuan also woke up after a while. And Tai Su True Monarch actually shed tears for a while. Unlike the others, he is also a cultivator of the Dao Dao, and he understands the greatness of this steel far better than others. This stone steel is not only used to lead the comber with his own sword, but also uses the own Dao to fortify each other with the comber, so that the Dao contained in the stone steel grows with the comber together. The mysteriousness of the Taoist monument. In just a moment, he broke through a small realm. This stone steel is for a person who cultivates a sword. No, it is a well-deserved holy relic for all monks. If you are with you all the year round, you really don't know where you can go. The diva environment is not bad either. Then his gaze turned to Zhou Ziyi, and there was a feeling of envy. True Monarch, Zhou Ziyi asked sensitively. Nothing. Tai Su quickly controlled his own mentality, and this adjustment was a piece of cake for his cultivation base. Senior brother Tai Yi, I think we should discuss it, Tai Su said with divine thoughts. Tai Yi nodded similarly, and they discussed with Zhou Ziyi as they left. Ziyi, if this stone tablet is occupied by sect most of the time, would you disagree? Tu Yi True Monarch and Yan Yushan asked. What? Actually I don't mind, I am too familiar with this stuff. I want to make progress, not just by observing the steel for a while. I just don't know if Master is willing or not. Ha ha ha, this is good, this is good. Unconsciously, the seven had already arrived in front of Song Wudao's quiet room. The five True Monarchs sorted their appearance and clothes, coughed slightly nervously, and knocked on Song Wudao's mountain gate together. Today, they have something to discuss. Enter. From the stone gate, there was a clear and natural voice of a man, which made people feel good. The five True Monarchs heard this voice and opened the stone gate together with Jiyu Kaishuan and Zhou Ziyi and entered the quiet room. The stone interior has a wide open space, about 5 feet each on the top, bottom, left, and right, but the furnishings are very simple. There is only one futon, one stone table and 2 stone chairs. The stone wall of the mountain room is dark brown in color, with dozens of scratches faintly on it, exuding a seemingly ordinary but extremely profound Taoist rhyme. The eyes of the five True Monarchs flickered from the scratches, and they were shocked. You are here this time, do you have anything to say? Looking at the few people in front of him, Song Wudao said frankly. Speaking carefully, it was the first time he met with sect's senior officials. Compared with a few people, it feels different. In this taste, there is no ordinary people's fear or restraint. After all, his strength is strong enough. Instead, it brought some scrutiny and playfulness. Unconsciously, he has grown to this point. I am Tuyi Teizu Taiji Taishi Taichu, meet Senior. Senior's grace to save the Tianhe sect, we will never forget it. The five True Monarch bowed to Song Wudao and said. It's okay, I'm also from the Tianhe sect after all. This shot should be both reasonable and reasonable. Song Wudao hurriedly said that he didn't expect these people to make such a big move as soon as they came up. Almost startled him. After all, it is sect's True Monarch, a legend in the door. No, Senior paid so much for the people of the world. This is definitely worth remembering. Tai Yi True Monarch said seriously, and then took out 2 things from the storage magic treasures. A familiar feeling to Song Wudao. And the other one, who even caused him to swallow the evil demon in the heavens, the temporarily satisfied pupils felt hunger again. Song Wu's surprise flashed through Dao's heart. What is this? Senior, after careful consideration this time, we decided to repay Senior's life-saving grace with these 2 treasures. Tai Yi True Monarch said that he deliberately didn't mention the injury of Senior, just to avoid the ugly face of Senior. Senior, please take a look. This first one is the weapon of the main array of my Tianhe sect locking demon great formation, the seal of Falongding. This Falongding is one of the highest quality magic treasures in my Tianhe sect. As long as you accept this Dao item seal, you can master this magic treasures. Such magic treasures should be controlled by a senior, a noble person. However, this magic treasures is too high quality and spiritual. So it's very difficult to tame, senior must be careful before. Suddenly, there was a thud as soon as the mark of this Falongding vessel appeared. The rhyme of Dao was flourishing, and a lot of vitality gushed out, and he took the initiative to fly towards Song Wudao. His breath is automatically imprinted. This true monarch, who was still admonishing Song Wudao just now, suddenly widened his eyes. Wipe and wipe again. Others also had the same expression of seeing a ghost. According to legend, the appearance of sage will make magic treasures who fit with each other take the initiative to return. This thing turned out to be true. Unbelievably, senior is too strong. Shangbi was just a senior at the time because of bad luck, otherwise, how could he just become a resident immortal? Tu Yi true monarch thought. After thinking about this, Tai Yi was even more sure that senior was the real person of Forge Mountain. Because the real person he heard the master described in the past is also very powerful and very low-key. What's more, the real Dushan is always dressed in Xingyi. Regardless of whether the senior saw them this time or saved sect last time, he always showed up in Xingyi. With so many points of agreement, the identity of the senior, is it necessary to talk about it? Paid a great price. Song Wudao thought about what was too easy just now, and he didn't understand. Could it be that they knew that in order to hack out the divine thunder, they almost made the long sword of their own sacrificial weapon impaired their spiritual wisdom? But where did they learn about it? Is it an apprentice? Forget it, this is not a big deal. And they are forgiven for saying so. After all, a sacred artifact is very precious even for true monarch. Feeling the attraction of another object to his pupils, Song Wudao controlled himself. You don't always call me senior. I'm still very young, but I can't afford to call me like that. I just keep one thing. It's just a small thing to me. You don't need to be too entangled. Song Wudao said. This matter is small for him, and there is no need to accept a treasure that is so important to these people. Fu Longding was because he had accepted it in advance. It just happened to take this opportunity today to show that it saved a lot of effort to explain to them. Senior, sure enough. Several true monarchs said as if they were out of words. They really couldn't find any words to describe this senior's goodness. So approachable and so unrequited. As a monk, it's perfect. It's a pity that the senior had bad luck and eventually became a realm immortal. Over the past tens of thousands of years, senior must have been pretty bad. They can't let the senior work hard anymore. Senior, please accept it. This piece of flying jade is definitely useful for people like you with high realm. This thing is also very beneficial for healing. Senior, my Tianhe sect person has always been proud of being in the right way, and I must have a strong guarantee for kindness. Now it's difficult for us to come up with gifts that surprise you senior, it's enough for losing face. If you refuse to accept these two things, don't you tell us to be ungrateful. Song Wudao opened his mouth and stopped again. What is this and what is being said? Senior called so diligent, didn't he say that he is very young? Each of these people is over long live, call him senior. The called Song Wudao was embarrassed and guilty, and in the end he was unable to complain and could only follow them. You are older, so you can call it whatever you like. But you can't threaten me with ungratefulness. He had never seen anything like this before. In order to give him magic treasures, he even took out this set of rhetoric. Enough to fight. Okay, don't you call me senior. In the end, Song Wudao couldn't bear the embarrassment, so he had to accept it in a hurry. After that, the 5 true monarchs hesitated for a while, and finally they talked out what they were thinking. This is also another major event for them to come over, besides repaying their gratitude. Speaking of it, they came up with this matter after they saw the steel on the way and made progress in their Taoism. At this time, 5 people came together to present cupped hands, and then True Monarch, the highest cultivation base among the 5 people, solemnly asked for instructions and said, Senior, we want to list Refining Mountain and its surroundings as sect's blessed land. Please also seniors permission. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.